Right, wheelers. Now we are back for day 4 of the Ashes, and there's a ramp shot attempted by Joe Root on the very first ball of the day. That is something you don't see too often. They are starting right as we are speaking currently. For some reason, I do not have sound. I don't know whether that's a technical issue on my part or Smart Sport, but Joe Root, reverse ramp shot for the first shot of a day off Pat Cummins bowling. I think this is going to be an entertaining few sessions. They've missed quite a bit of yesterday due to the rain. Sup, says Amelia. And also Connor said, come on, England, you have it in the bag. Says Connor. So the big thing here is they are going to set a total that they feel is good enough that they are then able to send the Australians in and possibly find themselves getting a result. But that's going to be relatively tricky to do with the time that we have got remaining. England will be looking for somewhere around that maybe 350, 400 mark to try and stop. It's an attempted shot from Joe Root, though, that you wouldn't normally see from him. If he got clean bowled by that, I'm sure he wouldn't have been too happy. And good morning, New Zealand. Says Robert there. Yeah, that's an early morning start for you once again, Robert. Is it 2 a.m. for yourself? No, that might be wrong. I think it's 4 a.m., isn't it? Out, Root. Whipping it off the pads, gets himself the single into deep fine leg. There's Scotty bowling. I'm watching it when I'm on my lunch break. There's Connor there. I should be watching it with sound, but I've got no sound in my eardrums. In fact, what I'm going to quickly do is I'm going to play something else. Okay, that also doesn't have sound, so it isn't just the cricket that is on mute at the moment. That is weird. Oh, I can hear noise now. We're good. Hello, fellas. How are we all? Says Marco. I'm doing very well, Marco. My eyelids are pretty heavy, I'll be honest, for 10 p.m. at night, but doing all right. Did not catch a break. No more wake up with a sore throat. Says Amelia. Sore throats are always a really annoying thing because they seem to stick around a little bit, don't they? And you wonder whether or not it's because you like snored really loudly during the night. Sometimes I get that. I wake up when I've been like really tired, and then I'm like, oh no, I must have been snoring the house down. And good evening, rest of the world, says Jason there. And 6 a.m. says Robert. One day I'll get it right, won't I? I get close and then I give it away by saying a completely wrong answer. Travis Head. Fielding in a slightly awkward position, almost a bit more of a deeper gully, but he is almost like a floaty third man, I guess you'd call him. Quite an interesting tactic here from the Australians, but I like it. At the end of the day, we did see constant field changes from the English. Now Australia trying to do the exact same thing. First over wasn't too bad of one from Pat Cummins. Scotty bowling now into the attack. Bowling to Root here. He has faced 12 deliveries. Just got himself the 1 run, which was that one before. We have seen quite a stop-starty day 3. We actually saw quite a few wickets falling in quick succession with Duckett and Crawley going out both within 12 balls of each other. We did see a good catch from Cam Green there in the gully as well. I've only been able to keep down Soup, says Amelia. Have you had any popsicles? Popsicles are always my go-to if my throat's a bit rough. That's nicely played by Root there. Whip through, and that will be going to the boundary out mid-wicket way. How many more days of cricket do we have? Says Connor. So this one, we have got day 4, and then tomorrow, day 5. That is the final day of the first test. And then you times that by 5 because each of the tests are going to be 5 days. So, or roughly 5 days, depending on how they go. So a lot of cricket to come. I'm looking forward to it. I think day 5 is going to be set up very nicely. Joe Root, 5 runs off 13. Morning, Kiwi lads. Even colder weather here today. Nice to see Hamish and this fantastic cricket commentary again. Got to have coffee. What kind of cricket is this? An ODI T20? I have no idea, says Marco. So this pretty much, it's the longest format. Oh, the reverse ramp works for Joe Root this time. Hits it for 6. And that is a very impressive shot, and not a shot you would see in a test match very often. So pretty much the best way of describing it, Johnny, when England are batting, it's a T20/ODI just in a test match format. It's a long game, 5 days of 90 overs, or that's what it's supposed to be anyway. But Joe Root, reversed ramp shot to the offside. gets the 6 runs for it. How come that England flag turns black in the chat? I'm not too sure. I think the Welsh and Scottish flag are a little bit the same, if I'm not wrong. And Baseball Test says, Tony, I can already hear the crowd chanting for Joe Root. He's done it again. He's got it over the slip corner and he just keeps on doing that reverse wrap. It's as if he decided during the time that it was raining, he was just going to keep on practicing that shot. And that seems to be a pretty good one. I see that there's a lot. Oh, Pat Cummins has said, right, you go back now. We can't have any more of that. But Joe Root, he knows that Scott Boland normally gets it right up there in the block hole, which does mean if you can somehow get bat on it reversed, you're going to be able to get yourself a few runs. We don't got any in the house, from what I know, says Amelia. Good morning. Do you think Joe Root is going to get a century or is your best player so far? I mean, this test match, I probably would give it to Joe Root because Kawaja's batting was courageous, but Joe Root looked better for his 100, if that makes sense, than Kawaja did. Kawaja had to work extremely hard, quite a few dot balls in a row at times, but yeah, I think Joe Root so far with his, and he bowled a little bit as well. Joe Root didn't go for a huge amount of runs. So yeah, I'll probably give Joe Root so far man of the match. Depending on how this innings goes, perhaps you're well and truly secure. And what's up, buddy? Nice day of test cricket ahead of us. Says Coding. Yeah, hopefully a full day. They haven't said that there's any rain in the forecast, which hopefully means we get the full day in. And but why? Why do the home flags turn black? What's up with that? To get black flags, says Marco. I think because the UK flag comes through all right, doesn't it? Nicely blocked by Root. Gets the single and he's going to hog the strike, or does he know they do manage to get the 2 runs? And Ollie Pope now will have the chance up against Pat Cummins, and he's only faced 2 balls, yet to get himself a run. What kind of approach does he take into this contest? Now that, I mean, Root's certainly trying to get quick runs, and that is, I believe, the plan for England. Get as many runs as they can throughout a short period of time, send the Australians in maybe right at the end of today, and say, if you guys want to score at 4 or 5 and over, you can take this test match out, but you're going to have to try and whack our bowlers away to be able to do so. Is this game even on Sky? Hammy says the snooze. It is on Spark Sport for this one. So I believe the first 2.5 or 3 test matches are on Spark Sport, and then it becomes on to TVNZ Plus for us here in New Zealand. Can we lab for this year's Rugby World Cup? Which 2 teams are going to pick? Or are you going to pick through the quarterfinals? Away, All Blacks France host Italy, Namibia, and Uruguay. Okay, well, in that group, you got to go pretty much New Zealand, France. Although I'd love to see Italy cause an upset of some sort, but then that would be to beat either France or the All Blacks, as the other sides they should be beating. Come on, Aussies! You got those pommies on the ropes. 33 for 2. Says Roof, although now up to 45. Some quick runs coming from Joe Root. What do you think about the strategy of both teams so far? Says Firefly. Well, England have shown intent. They've shown that they don't want to go and have a draw in this contest. They want to try and start off the Ashes with a win under their belt, which I do heavily appreciate because at the end of the day, everyone loves seeing a result a lot more than a draw in a test match. And some draws are entertaining when they go down to the wire, but with England playing the way that they do, it's almost meant even with that rain delay, we still have a chance of seeing a result here because I believe if they bat throughout this whole day, they'll end up with about 400 on the board, if not more. I don't see them batting the whole day, though. I think they'll send in Australia right at the end of the contest today. And then, oh no, Travis said still getting a little bit of noise from the crowd. Ever since that first fumble that he had on day number 1, the crowd has not forgotten. South Africa in Scotland will go through as well, says Marco. Pool number B. Pool B. But also, who do Irish match because Ireland, or do the Irish match because Ireland are winning? As in, like, do they play either of these sides? I know that they played England in a warm-up game and England dominated in their match up against the Irish. It wasn't really even that much of a contest. I didn't even know I was 5 minutes behind. Thanks, Heavy. I'll wait for the freebies. Says the snooze and best bowler in the World Test Championship final, Boland. Joe Root is hitting him for 6s like a spinner, says Coding. I think it's very strategic and it's surprising. Well, I mean, I can understand why no one's tried it on Boland before, but you know he's going to put it roughly somewhere near off stump. So if you can get that ramp right, you are going to be able to use that pace of the ball. And that's why Australia have had to make quite a few field changes early. Bazball, we get results, says Tony. And what do you think about Tonga and Samoa squad for the Rugby World Cup? It's good. At the end of the day, they've added in those players that they've been able to. Tonga, they've got Israel not Folau, Fakatava, Malakai Fekitoa. They've got Via Fafita, made his way into the side. Charles Piatal, looking pretty decent. Samoa, they've got some big names. I would have loved to see one or two more Sevens boys in there. Maybe Va'a Pilomaliko joining Malani Matavao. Nicely worked to the league side there. Because I could see Va'a Pilomaliko being a winger and probably competing pretty well with someone like a Noria Fama'i. Saw that Ed Fidal missed out on the squad for Samoa. That was slightly unfortunate for him. Question on Fiji in the quarters, Hammy. There's the snooze. It's tricky to tell because looking at their squad, you'd think, yep, they should be able to do so. But it's whether or not Wales and Australia. For me, Australia going through, it's what Wales do. Are we going to see a strong Welsh side or are we going to see Fiji be able to cause that upset? The slight worry I have is maybe Fiji will cause an upset, beat Wales, but then may end up losing to someone like a Georgia. We've seen them have close games in the past. That's whipped off the pads by Ollie Pope. And it's going to be 4 runs to down the leg side. And Aussies and Fiji will crack that pool. There's Marco and Los Pumas to win this year too strong. And Joe Root all the way, says Firefly there. I like the look of the New Zealand 15 team to play Japan. Looks like a few are capable of making the main team if everything falls in their favour, says Jason. And that's the thing. Over half of the New Zealand squad that was announced for the All Blacks, they are playing in the Super Rugby Pacific final. So there are going to be injuries that come about. The New Zealand versus Japan game, that's going to be a great opportunity for players to say, well, if you need someone for that World Cup, I'm here and I'm playing well, which is where we could see someone like a Brad Weber get put into the side, maybe one of those forwards. Who do Ireland have in the squad for the Rugby World Cup? Says Connor, they've announced a couple training squads, but they haven't announced their official Rugby World Cup squad as of yet, but it won't include Johnny Sexton by the sounds of it due to his misconduct off the field. So he was a big part of the Irish plan going into that World Cup and why they were going in with a lot of confidence. And now they aren't going to have him available because his mouth has let him down. I wonder why no Hoskins, Satutu and Levi Muller, says Marco. I can see a little bit why they didn't go with Satutu, mainly because I think, shot from Root there. He hit down the ground and races to the boundary again. He moves up to 22 runs off 21 balls. Certainly not taking his time here, Joe Root. He wants to get on with it. But yeah, I can see why Satutu's been left out because they've got that option of Xavier at 8, as well as having Jacobson, who I feel out of Satutu or Jacobson's definitely the more informed player. So they've gone with Jacobson as that specialist number 8, but then also he can play blindside flanker or open side if they really need that change. And you've still got Xavier. That opens up maybe a chance of Xavier going to 6, or sorry, not 6, 7. Is it winter in New Zealand? It is summer here. Says Neutrino, that is true. Currently 10 degrees Celsius, so a little bit chilly, but not too bad compared to what we've had a little bit prior. I believe we're actually in quite a warm spell. We went from really warm to pretty chilly of like -2 and whatnot, and then we went back up to now it's not too bad. Also, today, for the first time, you are slowly reading or replying to comments, says Coding. I mean, the best way of working out that one, I feel like it's simple math. There are more comments coming in, so it will take slightly longer to read through them. Definitely when there are questions and whatnot, but as you know, we get through all the comments. It just sometimes takes us a bit longer. It's a nice shot from Joe Root. Works down to deep third man, gets himself the 1. Also, someone said players come and go Europe. This island keeps coming. Well, yeah, this island keeps going, says the snooze. Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see how much the development of Fiji and Droy and Moana Pacifica is going to impact the way that they move forward with Pacific Island rugby, because I feel it's already made the Fijian and Samoan and the Tongan sides a little bit stronger because they're getting more rugby in. They're not just playing overseas. They're playing that fast-paced Super Rugby Pacific style. So, yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing what the Fijians can do. I just hope they gel with their Fijian draw players alongside the internationals who have been overseas. A little bit of advancing there from Ollie Pope. A glorious drive down the ground, the off drive. And that's going to be another 4 runs straight away they are talking about the fact that England know what they need to do here. They need to score a lot of runs in a hurry to then be able to send the Aussies in and possibly put them under a little bit more pressure. Working quite well for them so far. Great shot from Ollie Pope, just driving straight down the ground. Labuschagne was trying to chase after it, but wasn't quite able to. Great use of the head there, keeping it nice and low. Makes sense having says the snooze. Everyone's in a very chatty mood after the All Blacks squad was announced, I think. And I mean, England are scoring a lot of runs as well, so there's plenty of talking points throughout this first session. It's actually already been 15 minutes since the first ball was bowled. But Scotty Boland, he's been put under a huge amount of pressure, currently sitting 3.4 overs bowled, 26 runs off him. That was a nice straight delivery, though. And when we going in the Rugby World Cup, or where we going in the Rugby World Cup? There's the snooze. Where we going? As in, like, how far is New Zealand getting the snooze? Ferdinand has said, how's the weather looking? It's looking a lot better today than it did yesterday, although they are still talking, I believe it's going to be thunderstorms tomorrow afternoon, if I'm not wrong. How is the weather looking, says Ferdinand, because I didn't reply within the first 5 seconds. Cricketers' most famous sports in subcontinent. Why have least viewers from New Zealand to this podcast, says Nathrino. It is because all these games are at like late times here in New Zealand. Plus, if you're looking at it, New Zealand aren't actually in the Ashes. It's Australia versus England. So some Kiwis don't really get too invested in it. But yeah, this day starts at 10 p.m. at night. The day finishes at 5:30 a.m. on a weekday when people get up for work at like 7 a.m., 8 a.m., etc. So yeah, people would rather get 8 hours sleep than get 2 hours during the Ashes. And also, Fiji looked like a serious dark horse. Some quality players in their ranks, all big fellows, and athletic. Freaking Fijian Bruce, says Marco. And Vanapola deserving. Then the rest says the snooze. Match summary so far, we did see England get themselves 393 in their first innings, 8 down. They did declare and try and get the Aussies in there early. England at the moment, they are 68 runs ahead. Now Pat Cummins charging in for his third over of the day. Yorker, nicely worked to the leg side from Pope again. Boland chasing after it. They might get back for the 2. Yes, they do. Great running between the wickets from the English. And although South Australia need to get wickets, they certainly do. And the big thing is they won't just need to get 1 or 2. Looking through this Aussie side, in terms of their bowling attack, they've certainly got the numbers to be able to bowl a lot because you've got Nathan Lyon up the sleeve. But looking at England's batting lineup, you've got Stokes, you've got Bairstow, all these fellows who hit the ball hard, Mo and Ali. They are still yet to make their way to the crease. You've also got Harry Brook, who's been very good as of late. Got a little bit unlucky in that first innings. Ollie Pope. You can see how intently England are batting, though. They're wanting to get themselves off the mark, keep those runs ticking over, and yeah, get as many as you can in a short amount of time. Water. Got to be good for you. I'm actually quite surprised I've still got my voice after the weekend, although it is a bit raspy at times. Should be right, though. I'm looking forward to this weekend. Super Rugby Pacific final, Curry Cup final coming as well. Lead of 70 at the moment. So, a session being 30 minutes extended means we could easily see England sitting on 150 runs here, if not more. I would say actually England more likely almost sitting on 200 runs by the end of this session. And Sir Lyon needs 9 wickets and 500 Test cricket match wickets. And I mean, he might not get it quite today. He might get it, though, by the end of the Ashes. I believe he will at the end of the day. Still able to pick up those wickets in good times. Nice drive from Pope, goes straight out to Labuschagne. Fielding at short short cover, in fact. I think the Crusaders versus Chiefs game will be an intense game, but I believe that the mighty Chiefs will just beat the Crusaders in the Super Rugby Pacifica final, says Ryan. And I think a lot of people are backing the Chiefs in terms of who they want to win the competition. They've had a very good season, the Chiefs. They've only lost that one game. It was to the Reds, but then they were able to beat them in the quarterfinals. The Chiefs, they were also able to beat the Crusaders when the Crusaders were at home. What is wickets and overs? Don't know anything about cricket, says Marco. So pretty much, I guess the best way of describing it all, that's going to be a misfield there. We'd end up racing away to the boundary, although Labuschagne chasing it hard, just manages to cut it off. I see taken by Alex Carey. So pretty much the wickets is when a batsman goes out, is a easy way of describing it. So pretty much if they get bowled or if they get caught in the field, that's one wicket. So at the moment, England, the slash, this side of it, closest to me, is the runs that they've scored. This far side is the amount of wickets they've lost. So 2 of their batsmen have gone out so far, but they have got 10 wickets in hand in total for an innings. I'm trying to think of it. I'm probably not describing it very well. I apologize, Johnny, but pretty much you've got 10 outs. England have lost 2 of them. So now they've got 8 left. Good news. I found some throat lozenges. So that's the start, says Amelia. 6 wickets, says the snooze. And then also the overs, pretty much an over is made up of 6 balls, or at least it should be. If there are wides or anything like that, it does add to it. But yeah, 6 balls bowled normally equals the over. And so far they're 14.4 through. So that's 14 overs of 6 and then also 4 extra balls. It's a big divot that Marnus made right there. A massive hole in the turf. Look more like a golf divot. Now Boland is going to be bowling to Joe Root, sitting on 24 of 24. He's gone extremely aggressive throughout the early stages. How many overs all? Says the snooze. So theoretically, in a test match, you can have up to, well, there's 90 overs per day, so that's 450, but normally you lose 2 overs in an innings changeover. So really you're looking at 442 overs in a test match. Maximum. Can have less than that, though. Still no sign of an icy pole that I think my friend is dropping some off later tonight, says Amelia. Yeah, that will be ideal. Help out the throat. And Aussies the chance to attack. This time Lyon, says Naveen. I think they're a little bit hesitant to put Lyon into the bowling attack, mainly because Joe Root is smashing everything. So I think they're a little bit worried that Nathan Lyon might go for 10 or so and over, whereas Boland, he can get this ball in the right place. I think that's the troubling part. Anytime it's a little bit short, Joe Root has that premeditation to be able to then go for that ramp shot. He doesn't decide to use it that time, just stays solid. Once more, 6 in and over. Damn, athletic, says the snooze. Yeah, I know cricketers sometimes get a little bit of a, I guess, a not bad name, but just people feel like, oh, cricket, you just stand out in the field. But if you're somewhere where you're actually doing quite a bit or you're bowling, like bowling 30 overs is not very easy. That's 180 balls where pretty much every time you're slamming all of your body weight down onto your knee and your ankle joint, rolling over the arm, stretching out the muscles. It can be quite a taxing job for a bowler, but that is going to be beautifully played off the back foot for Joe Root there. It's been able to get it out to the boundary through the cut shot. I'm right. I sort of get what you're saying, but I've never really played too much or paid too much attention to cricket. Blasphemy in the right. What Kiwi doesn't like cricket, says Marco. No, there's a few. Like George, when George did that cricket live stream with us a little while ago, he'd never watched cricket at all in all of his life. It's just one of those sports that didn't really interest him. Like we once went down just to an open field and we had a ball and a bat, and he was loving whacking the ball. Like he was playing it like it was baseball pretty much with it sideways and just swinging. He enjoys that part, but I don't think he enjoys watching cricket, mainly because he feels that it seems like it's a very long game. Nice straight drive there from Root, the on drive. Makes Ollie Pope just a little bit nervous, had to slip back into his crease. Yeah, that was actually the day that he threw the ball at me while I was walking away, and he was aiming for my buttocks, but instead smacked me in the side of the head with it. So that was slightly unfortunate, but I knew that he wasn't actually aiming at my head because his throwing arm is 50-50, so I believed him when he said he was trying to hit me in the arse. Work to the leg side. run taken for Root. 28 off 29. Looks like he wants a drink. It's going to hurt the over rate. Only been going for 25 minutes and he already is after a drink. Joe Root, I know that a lot of people have said about how this test match, we've had a few delays every once in a while. He's at the shop right now picking up some pumpkin soup, lemon and honey, some lemonade flavored icy pops. Tell George to learn on the spin. There's a snooze. I feel like he'd enjoy batting. He doesn't understand bowling. He's like, why would you go through all the extra effort of going like that when you can just throw it? That's his logic. I think Caleb Clark has been a bit quiet for the whole season. Still, he's somehow part of the All Black squad. Yeah, I agree. Stevenson should have been in rather than Clark, and Clark is the injury replacement for Mark Tillier. George's interest, it sounds like me. I like to whack the ball, but apart from that, I'm like, not my thing. But some of the cricket players' wives are pretty stunning, says Marco. There you go, eh? Cricket players, they make a fair bit of money as well if you get into the IPL, Overseas League. Water. I need a water sponsor, but then it's just water, isn't it? So can't really. Can you sponsor just drinking water? I guess so. If you got like your brand on the bottle. I just realised I won't be able to stream the Super Rugby final because I'll be at the game. The Storm game on Saturday. Says Amelia. And the good news about the Super Rugby season coming to an end, if there's any good news involved in it, is the fact that we will be able to pick up a little bit more of the NRL during the later stages of the competition. But the Warriors, they're going all right. I hope I don't jinx them, but I've wanted to cover one of their games. We did the preseason, which seems so funny that we covered preseason games for the Warriors, but as soon as they got into the regular season, we haven't actually covered any of their games yet. There was one that we were going to cover, but then George and Daniel both ended up showing up, so we all went bowling, I think. And also, we were going to do something else. I think we might have been fishing afterwards or before. Oh, it's raining again here. That's no good. Hopefully it's not raining for the Super Rugby Pacific final, though. Yeah, Root is just getting a beverage. Maybe a new helmet. The looks of it. And thus the long wait. Next season begins, says Amelia K. Although we've got a few events, don't we, along the way to help it go a little bit quicker. We've got an Under-20s World Cup. I'm looking forward to covering some of that on the channel. The beauty of it is I have no idea who any of those young players are. And 51-20 in. Says the snooze. 51-20. My brain is not kicked in for that one. And 400 is on the card, says Minnow. Yeah, I feel at the moment, England, any less than 350, they'll be very disappointed. But we're seeing the aggression from Joe Root while he's been at the crease. He went a little bit slower in the last 2 overs, and I believe the reason for that is he was having some sort of problem with that helmet. But now he's getting a drink. He'll be well rested and ready to go once again. Blues still 3. Says the snooze. I wonder, have the Blues started their end-of-year sale yet? I know that all of the sides, when we get to the end of the season, they have the end-of-season sale. Have the Blues done that yet? I'm checking now, and the answer is no. They may wait a little bit longer for the Blues because I feel like they'll probably sell out pretty quickly once it is on special. But yeah, I should mention that the Hurricanes and the Highlanders, they are both doing their end of season sales. So anyone who does want their kits or anything like that, I would recommend checking out their sites now rather than waiting, because the same kit next year, they're going to sell it to you for $150, which is pretty rough really, but just the way that it's worked out. So like the away kit for the Hurricanes, they've got, it's sold out. Okay, I might have told you guys this information too late. The performance tee. There's still medium performance tees for anyone who's after them. That's good news. I think South Africans should play league. That'd be awesome. Field a team full of loose forwards with Malcolm Marks, Andre Esterhuizen. They would suit league. I think it would be pretty awesome to see a few South African guys pick up the rugby league side of things because there's still a rule I think though that's been around for ages and it's not really a relevant rule now, but it was back in the old days. It was pretty much you're not allowed to play. Um, you're not allowed to play rugby league if you want to play rugby union. There's some sort of rule that they have. I've got a lot of tip. I've got my tip on the Chiefs getting the job done. I've also got my back because it would be kind of nice to see a different team win the comp rather than the Crusaders. One thing is for sure, the South Africans' chemistry keeps coming for both. Says this news. Pat Cummins charging into the crease again. Ollie Pope on strike, cuts it away, finds the gap. That's going to be another 4 runs. This is brilliant batting so far for England. Definitely keeping that strike rate ticking over. You get a medium Hurricanes polo on their website, I'm seeing. They'll still have their away kit because it's very ugly. Or not the away kit, the training jersey. No, everyone's bought those too. There you go. Hoodies all sold out. Caps sold out. Shorts sold out. Hurricanes' actual jersey for this year is not sold out, ladies and gentlemen. For anyone who likes the Hurricanes, you could get a medium or an extra large or a small Hurricanes regular season kit down from $150 to now $60. There you go. Partnership 50 runs off 45 balls now for these two. Taking over very well. Good game by Fine a Nuke. Oh, by Fine Anuku, is it? 310. Here's the snooze. That might just me considering I'm a Reels fan. We are refreshing. Would be refreshing to see the Chiefs win. Have the Rebels done their end of year sale yet, Amelia? I know that most of the Aussie. Oh, what a ball! Pat Cummins in swing and Yorker. Sorry, but that was a fantastic delivery. Oh, get their voice crack. Ollie Pope gone. He looks like he's just seen a ghost. That's a ghost of Pat Cummins. How does he get this out like that? There's almost a knuckleball just comes in. Beautiful ball. The angle to come back in. That was a fantastic delivery, and Cummins was fired up. That price sounds right for the Hurricanes gear trash stuff. Here's Marco. I still feel like 150 to start it off. Like, it's the same with the NRL stuff. Like, NRL, you end up, what is it, like $180 for the Warriors kit? The Rebels have got, there you go. The Rebels home jersey is now $97.50. And a high lads great bowl. And the years of all rugby players are contracted. Is it because of the physical nature of the sport? It depends a little bit on the player, but when you're in the scrums, you get that nice big cauliflower ear, which pretty much is when your ear's full of pus and blood, and it's all built up and all gooey, and then they have to get it kind of poked and then pushed out so that you can still hear properly. It's quite beautiful, but yeah, it depends on your position. Some players do get a little bit more roughed up around the ears. Some players tape their ears to their head. Some will wear headgear. It just depends on what you want in terms of your eardrums. You know, see, I would have thought the Australian team should have put their gear way down in price. Like their away jersey, for instance. I feel like their away jersey should be $50, and I'll be sad if it isn't. Where is it? The away jersey is not on special, still $150. It's a great Yorker, this MC boy. I see you in the ABs, man. The snooze. A great delivery from Paddy Cummins, biting the tongue. What a Yorker. Cleans up the stumps. And that might just be the wicket that the Aussies need to give themselves that little bit more confidence. Yeah, that's right on the they say on his toes, and off he goes, and he was off. Looks disappointed. He tilted his head. I think Joe Root says unlucky. That was a good ball. Here comes Cam Green warming up the arms like that. 24 years of age. He's only a little bit older than me, just a tad taller as well. Cam Green, about 6'6". Have another crack here. 22 matches, 26 wickets. 3 overs in this test match, and now going to be facing off with Joe Root. And I think Joe Root will go after him relatively early. Looks like they've got a lot of men back behind the wicket, as if to say to Joe Root, we're going to give you some short stuff or Yorkers. Or they might just, actually, no, they'll just give him probably short stuff for Joe Root, I would think. No, it's pitched up off the outside edge. Nicely fielded by David Warner. Let's keep it to 1. And now at the crease, Harry Brook, the unluckiest man in the dismissal department in the first innings. And I agree with your boy Marshy today, Hammy. I don't play it at a level. Play Super Rugby Pacific style. Good season though, boys. Come on, man. Empty the stadium in your mind. Are you talking in riddles today, the snooze? I'm getting quite confused. I don't know Justin Marshall was my boy either, to be fair. I feel like I don't really like the guy. Who's the top 3 best MVP players in each of those 2 international teams? Best 3 AB players, Savia, Rico, and Smith. Wait, so we're saying for upcoming ones or for previous performances? And popping in to say hello, Hamish. Hope you're well, mate, says Gareth. You too, mate. You are doing all right. It's going to be the easy single taken. I haven't been able to keep completely up with the Discord as of yet, but I want to know, Gareth, when is the next poker night for the boys? I'm very curious because I think my dad was keen on joining too for these 2 cricket teams. Oh, sorry. Yeah, no, I get what you're saying now. So the 3 MVPs, I'll go slightly different positions, I guess, as well. So you go Scotty Boland as one to watch out for the Australians. Nathan Lyon is the spinner. And then batting-wise, you'd probably say go Usman Khawaja at the moment of current form. Then for England, you go Joe Root, probably Stuart Broad and Jimmy Anderson as the 3 big dogs, although Stokes is definitely one as well. And Root, Anderson, and Stokes, Smith, Labuschagne, and Hazelwood, says Gareth. Yeah, plenty of X-Factor players. Like every player on these 2 sides has the potential of being the MVP. It's just whether or not it happens for them. The Ashes, some players, they sometimes fall under the pressure. Cam Green again pitching the ball up. Root drives beautifully. Not really the field set to be able to pitch that ball up the way that he just did. Field it in the deep for Travis Head. And they do just keep it to 2. I drank a lot of water today. I don't know why. Just feels like a water drinking day. It's a great ball from Pat Cummins. I've just shown the replay again. Short ball, chased after it. Oh, it's gone straight to Labuschagne, who was in close. Root's disappointed. Very well taken by Labuschagne, though. Nice. I have no idea who these blokes are. Cool. Cheers, bro. It's Marco. It's great to have you, though, on the live stream, Marco. Even though you have said yourself you know hardly anything about cricket at all, it's still nice to have you popping in. Are you working? Did you work today, Marco? Are you working tomorrow? What's the plan? And what are you working on at work? I use work way too much in that sense. Almost chopped on there from Joe Root. And nothing on Bodie. 10 for the Blues is the toughest competition. Says the snooze, and you're hard to say 3 are both very good teams, says Gareth. Into the over, 82 for 3. Still ticking over at about that 4 and a bit per over. Yeah, for England, I think they want to get that closer to 4.5, 5 by the end of this first session. Stokes, Bairstow, and Moeen Ali. How good has Root been on today? I tell you what, going for the flick shot on the first ball of a day shows confidence. That is for sure. How we going there, mate? Says Ben in 1AC. Doing very well, mate. Hope you are the same. But yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing what kind of unorthodox shots Root will play here, because he is currently getting himself closer and closer to the man of the match experience if he can help his side towards a victory. Next poker night game, let's check with the boys. Fletchen's busy assembling furniture right now, says Gareth. Yeah, because he got a few packages in the mail, didn't he? He's like me. I'm still waiting for a couple that I ordered online a while ago. And I'm excited about a couple of them. Might even show them on the live stream. They're nothing like big purchases. They're just the little ones that are kind of cool looking. That's a great shot from Root, field in the deep by Travis Head. Imagine watching a live game where there's heavy rain hitting you for the whole game. Also, if you brought fresh warm chips with you, it'll really be soggy by the time you take your seat, says Ryan. And that's why I hope the weather for that final is good, because or else then that would be quite sad if it's just bucketing down with rain and everyone's getting wet and cold. It'd be pretty rough, wouldn't it? Be a great Lions 10, says this news. I hope Brook can get going too. Nicely worked to the leg side by Root. Might be another 2 runs. Oh, good arm here. Well run there by Harry Brook. If they can do, I think Aussie could lose this. They can snag 3 for 400 before and after tea. 61-14 says a snooze. Our question is why this ref is mad at the Blues. Penanata is one that roasted him. Oh, pretty good throw in the deep. The one that bounces up and then it just slipped out of Cummins' hands, but he would have been safe anyway. Drew's smiling about it. He's having fun at the crease, which is something that's great to see. Because for so long, he was a man under a huge amount of pressure. And it just... Oh, the switch out again he attempts. Australia asked if it was out. Or umpire, sorry, says no. Roots in a worrying form for the Aussies. Yeah, he's... The fact that he's willing to reverse ramp shot and sometimes getting it away for 6. Like, the Aussies just don't know what he wants to throw at them next. Like, that was a very cheeky shot to be playing there. No work today, might do half day tomorrow. Since losing my dog, I've only been working like 30-hour weeks. I've got a new dog. It's still not the same, says Marco. What type of breed is your new dog, Johnny? Do you let me know? Oh, that one swung in a little bit. At the moment, I believe, what's Dad working on? He's working on a renovation of a kitchen. He kind of ripped the whole kitchen out and is moving it. It's quite funny because it's actually at his brother's place. Cummins' elbow looked like it went the wrong way there, but that ball is very much seaming. Sorry, man, says Gareth. And then, who are you backing, mate? I'm going to be honest. I feel like there's a chance at a draw at the moment, depending on when England get their declaration going. Because if they're scoring at this rate that they are here, it should be shot. That was a very good shot from Joe Root. This is just entertaining cricket. Like, watching England bat, I know that it sounds bad to say, but watching England bat just makes other test match sides batting not look as good, if that makes sense, because they are rushing it a little bit in terms of the amount of runs that they're scoring and whatnot, but they're just striking the ball so cleanly. It's just really nice to watch. But I've recently done a few bathroom renovations, and we'll be at some stage building at Waikato Stadium. Nice for the Women's FIFA World Cup soon. Need build some stages for camera crew in the ground stands. Oh, are they doing scaffolding there? Because scaffolding's a business that if you want to get like a lot of money, scaffolding's the way to go. You're hiring out scaffolding, Marco, at any stage that'll last a while. And is it as expensive up there as it is down here? Appreciate you, Gareth, says Marco. And the White Lara has been in tip-top form for Surrey recently. I think New Zealand could be up there. They attacked a bit more, says Burning Ones AC. I was a bit disappointed with their series up against Pakistan, because Pakistan were in a negative mindset of we only want to score 2 and over because we don't care if we don't win. But New Zealand also fell into that mindset as well of going, 2.5's enough for us. And this Eno guy, Hammy, where do you sit on the selection? And where are we going with the last 2 test matches? Says this news. I think Eno's actually played himself into form and played himself into an AB's jersey, because some people at the moment would even select him at 13 over Rico, and then have Rico either off the bench or have Rico off the wing. So I think Enor's strong. I know some people don't like him, but the season he's had so far, he's impressed me a lot. And yeah, I don't mind seeing him in that AB side. I feel like he'll be able to do good things. Cameron Green now, 1.1 overs bowled, only gone for the 5 runs so far. Here comes Harry Brook. Nicely played again. Oh, nice one. Uses the pace of the ball, smacks it down the ground. And there'll be another one. There's nothing special with how they're playing. It's like the Aussies did under Ponting, aiming for 4 and over, says Gareth. And that is what Dad was saying earlier on. It's that more aggressive mindset of if it is a bad ball, we're going to go after it. And if it's an average ball, we're still going to consider going after it type thing. Like he was saying about the old days of Matthew Hayden, that looked very close to a no ball for Cam Green. But yeah, like the old days of Matty Hayden and all those fellas who were willing to try and play a little bit more aggressively, put other sides under pressure and try and force results. And your dad's, bro, are we wanting it done for free? Our Stokes family always want the cheap deals, eh? I'm a new boy is a bull mastiff cross staffy. Bull mastiff. I'm trying to think of what that looks like. So is that like, is the bull mastiff part of is that like a bulldog? Or is it slightly different? Mastiff cross Stanley Dam, keeping his balls on. Gonna be a big boy, says Gareth. And injury says the snooze. I mean, we might end up seeing a few injuries throughout that next game, Chiefs versus Crusaders. I feel like it's very hard to avoid them, unfortunately, when both sides are playing such a physical game. And yeah, I think that Gary Steed issue, not a player issue. All we got to do is add Phillips into the squad. Oh, Root was almost bowled around his legs there by Cameron Green. He was very disappointed that didn't connect with leg stump. I add Phillips to the squad. Give him the license to smash. There's booting 1AC. The only slight problem is I think we've done that a little bit in the past with certain players, such as a Colin de Gronholm at time. He's been told to just go out there. Southey goes out there and has a bit of a whack. But normally it's those lower guys, isn't it, that we have that have the freedom to go out there and smack it around. Whereas what would happen if you gave one of those guys in the top 5 or so just hey, go out there. The big thing is England are running their singles very well also. And it makes a massive difference because the amount of singles that they're running, the quick singles, but they don't seem to get run out all too often. Ryan said, we're looking nothing. Are we locking nothing away, Hemi? Is the Jackal McCaw covered? Now are we lethal? Front like Olo? Says, geez, Olo is a bit of a throwback, isn't he? I mean, I like that Tamaiti Williams has got himself into the squad. I feel like he was a certain eventually because of the things that he's able to do for the Crusaders, also for the Māori All Blacks. Been pretty impressive recently. So I'm glad to see him, and maybe it is due to some of those injuries also taking place. It's helped him out. Plays loose head and tight head, so has that bit of a combination under his belt. I'd say that my biggest concern is Ofatuanga Fasi and Nepo Lalala when it comes to our props, because those two know how to give away penalties like no other props in New Zealand. And it's going to be very concerning if they make mistakes. They're known for getting their discipline wrong. So I don't even know if I'd have either of them on my starting side, to be honest. That's big the question why other teams don't try baseball just for one test. It's worth taking the risk. Says Coding, I believe it's because if it fails, the media absolutely destroys them. Joe Root, I think, having another drinks break here. I believe we are actually, it would almost be halfway through. No, not quite. Actually, no, that's another early drinks break. Joe, he's had 2 of them so far. Must be very thirsty. Had a lot of salt yesterday, perhaps. Yeah, Hayden, Langer, Gilling, Ponting is Gareth. And Tamati makes yards. I would pick him too. See, he's close to being in my starting AB side, to be honest. I know that that's a big responsibility for a guy who hasn't actually played yet, but I would pick him over Lulala and Tuanga Fasi every day of the week at the moment, based off form. Cummins now again. Continuing quite a long spell here. Captain stepping up, knowing he wants that wicket. Oh, that ball came in off the seam. Update the score, says Ferdinand with his all capitals. There you go, mate. Would you like to know a weather report again? I can give you that. There are clouds in the sky, but they're not above the ground at the moment, so we should be right. Cummins can't quite believe how much that ball moved. On the finger afterwards, going, how close was that? New Zealand has been really fast when it comes to the singles, though. So I just think they need to give the license to the number 4 to 6. Phillips in at 6. Anchors like Kane and Latham still in. Ooh, down the wicket there. Harry Brook tries to cut it out through the cover region. I want to draw. There's Ferdinand. So who are you going for, Ferdinand? Are you actually, you've got either side that you prefer, or have you got a bet on the game perhaps? I'm thinking more likely because you've said it. I hope it rains. I feel like no one really hopes for a draw unless they've got money on a draw. And if Null was fit, I'd have 1 to Group, 3 Lomax, Tamaiti, and Fletcher Null. I've got a bet, mate. Thought it was the case. How is it, a large bet or a little bet? You don't have to tell me the amount, but just in terms of like a betting, like what you would normally do and you're betting 10K, is that like US or is that like 10K Rand in South Africa? That would be, what's that, $100 or something like that? Like, what is the exchange rate we're talking here? I think it's because of how dominant the ball has been in the last couple of years. Like here in South Africa, we need to get to 30 runs because the pitches are mumbas, are set out for bowling. But yeah, they're young and they're far superior to Nepo and Offa. And they've pumped them at the same time and time again. South African Rand, says Ferdinand. $500, 10K on a draw, says Gareth. I mean, to be fair, with the weather report, you never know. SA Rand to NZ dollars. We'll do the calculations. So yeah, it's 886 New Zealand dollars. For Australia to win or a draw, I get my money back. So why don't you just want Australia to win then? If you've got them to draw, you get your money back. Or Australia wins. So why would you want it to rain then? In that case, you kind of want Australia to do well, don't you? You would, yeah. So wickets need to be tumbling. I would think that that part of it would be better than the draw, because or else you just get your money back. In that case, you could have put $1 into your pocket and then taken it out and been like, I've done well. Because I feel like Joe Root is doing too well, says Ferdinand. So you're okay. I'm working it out now. So your logic is Joe Root's playing well, so you'd rather see a draw than see England do well, and then Aussie butcher it. And that's every bit in Australia. Win in the UK, advancing down the wicket again there, Joe Root. I think they get 30 overs and 20 overs today. It's beating 1 AC and won't be a draw. Yeah, I think the only thing that would create a draw is tomorrow it's supposed to rain, thunderstorms at one stage. And Lyon's going to be key, and it doesn't seem like they're going to use them yet. The Irish and the quarters are looking forward to Hammy. But Australia also has a chance towards the final. I would much rather be on the Australia and England side of the draw, if I'm being honest, in terms of who has the easier path to the final. Like New Zealand, South Africa, France, and Ireland, they all have to work extremely hard, or Scotland, depending on who goes through there. Like, it's a tough road to the final. But yeah, it could be interesting. I've made 66K profits in the last 6 weeks, says Ferdinand. Have you been backing the World Test Championship or just random stuff overall? I'm not sure what that is in New Zealand dollars. And I think they get 20 to 30 overs tomorrow. Says burning 1 AC. And they should bring Gary on now even. Oh, Gareth. There you go. He's on. Nathan Lyon in. I don't know why I raised the roof there. Got a bit exciting. Just sports bets, says Ferdinand. Super Rugby mostly. Well, make sure that you don't try and get too greedy is the one bit of advice I would say. Because it's all well and good when you're winning, but then as soon as you go, oh, I'll put that little bit more on because I'm getting confident, and then all of a sudden you're back at square one. So just gamble responsibly. That's the advice that I would give you. Nathan Lyon bowling now. Harry Brook cuts it away. And that is going to be 4 runs. straight away off Nathan Lyon's bowling. I think that the big thing here is they are going to go after Lyon. He might go for 100 runs, but might pick up 4 wickets in the process or 3 wickets. So it's a tricky scenario where they have to be willing to sacrifice runs to then get wickets. England will find out this year. I like that push or a stance of theirs that says the snooze. Oh, yeah, well bowled there by Nathan Lyon, getting Brook deeper in his crease. Very good spin on that. And it is going to be a spinner's surface as we get a little bit further through the test match. And that is why Moeen Ali, if he's not able to bowl, that is going to be a huge problem for the English. That is too short from Nathan Lyon, dragged down and whipped away to the leg side for 4 from Harry Brook. Sitting now on 16 runs off 12. There's this hucker I learned, says the snooze. In there. I'm currently not even watching. Called it, says Gareth. Yeah, pretty much as you were putting it in, they then were like, yeah, he's probably right. I was watching all time. I was watching your stream 3 minutes behind. That's why I was getting a feeling you were behind the comments. Ah, I see. So you were ripping into me about not reading comments, but really you weren't on the live. Interesting. Are you live now? I assume you're live now, Coding. Caught up with us. He's gone for 10 runs so far, Nathan Lyon, off the 10. I was 2 minutes behind as well, says Gareth. Interesting. Did the stream like glitch at some stage and pushed everyone behind? Because that's not the first 2 people who have said that they were behind by a couple minutes. This might end up being 100-run partnership, says Burning 1AC, and critical period right now, fielded by Scotty Boland. That's going to be another 2 runs. 12 now in total from the first 5 balls. How long is this cricket game on for, says Marco? Well, this one goes till 5:30 a.m. today, and then they do 10 to 5:30 a.m. tomorrow. Then that's the end of this test. And they actually, the funny thing with the Ashes is they do that 5 times, 5 days of about 7 hours or so of play, 6.5, depending on how you're going. Work to the leg side. Right. Australia need to make big field changes because I feel like that Nathan Lyon over, yes, he had a couple looseners, but it could have been a lot more effective if they had the field set correctly. It seems like Harry Brook very much enjoyed that one after it did go for 13. Wonder at what stage Steve Smith puts his hand up and says, oh, I have a bit of a crack. I feel like Australia, they got Cam Green at one end. Well, in fact, no, Cam Green's been ditched. Nathan Lyon. Where's Hazelwood? He must not be too far off. If Root can dominate, Lyon, England win, says Gareth. Yeah, that is the battle, isn't it? Ben Stokes, next man to the middle. Then it is Johnny Bairstow, Moeen Ali after that. Still a lot of batsmen. And then the tail order, which England don't want to have to expose. Because, Pat Cummins had a chat with Hazelwood. Was supposed to be Hazelwood, and then Cummins was like, nah, I'll take it back. I'm going to have one more. It was like he's right on the verge of picking up the wicket, perhaps. But yeah, they don't want to expose their tail because England bowled a lot of bounces to Aussie's tail end. And the Aussie bowlers will remember that. So they'll be like, no, as soon as the likes of a Stuart Broad, Ollie Robinson, Jimmy Anderson, when they're at the middle, Aussie, I think, will turn up that ruthless dial to 100 because they'll want to hurt them just like they were trying to hurt the Aussies. That's nicely played by Brook. Work down to deep third man. Easy single there. +1. Here's the snooze. Okay, so they're saying that Cummins, he wanted to have a good set of balls at Brook. Brook got a single first ball. Well, surely that field wasn't the right choice if he wanted that. Interesting. Comes Cummins. Again, we've already been going for an hour, fun fact, ladies and gentlemen. That was leg side. A bit too far down, though. 52. Says the snooze. That was how many they got in the Crusaders game, wasn't it? Crusaders versus the Blues. It was interesting because in playoff rugby, they actually got their record up against the Fijian draw of their most points ever. And then the week after, they managed to beat it and get even more up against the Blues. Root sitting 7 away from the half century now. Harry Brook, he's come into the crease and just looked like he's in the rhythm already. Test cricket is 5 days, so into 3 sessions, 30 overs each, says Gareth. Or at least we hope for 30 overs, but oh, good Yorker. Now, Root's in form because most other batsmen, we saw it with Pope, they normally struggle with that Yorker coming in. I think 240, 50 runs would be a good setup for tomorrow. In the last few overs this morning, for our times, he's beating 1 AC. Yeah, I'd say if they can, I think anything over a 350 lead's massive for them, and it wouldn't take too long to get there. I think England will be bowling tonight. Give them a few overs at the end. See if you're going to pick up the early wicket of Warner or Kawadra, and then you put the ball into Australia's court. Do they want to go aggressive or do they want to go for the draw? So we have 5 sessions after this one, and generally you need 4 sessions to bowl a team out, says Gareth. So yeah, there's going to have to be some big decisions made, isn't there? I'm hoping to cover the whole of tomorrow, I believe. And apart from this 100, or from its 100 in IPL, Brook literally struggled on Asian pitches, says Coding. I mean, he's one of those players who's only very new, though, so he hasn't had a huge amount of experience playing on those type of pitches because they are extremely different. You can't play the likes of that shot that he just has, dabbing it down to third man, because the ball's going to spin sideways and mean that you aren't really able to. How long is 30 overs, Gareth? Says the snooze. Only about 2 hours, but I'll let Gareth take this one. Dan Vittori, he knows a thing or two about bowling 30 overs. In a test match, just constantly the hustle. If Lyon can get it right and stop going for so many overs, so many runs, he could end up picking up a couple wickets, tying it down at one end and force them to make mistakes. And 10 to 20 overs tonight by England, says burning 1 AC. Yeah. I think we're all in it. Oh, nice short ball. Brook thought about it. Yeah, I think we're all in agreement that they need to have more than 6 overs at the Aussies tonight if they do declare tonight or get bowled out tonight. They need more than the 6. The 6 just wasn't quite enough to actually get a decent crack at them. And it only really gave them that little bit of a warm-up, and then they came in tomorrow all fresh. And Australia, longish tail. Once come and goes, no man standing, says Deegan. That big thing. And normally they have Stark who whacks it round a little bit, doesn't he? Cummins steaming in again. Another good Yorker. Very good delivery. Hard to get that one out. He's found his rhythm. Okay, now he's telling Hazelwood to warm up. Get the arms pumping for the 3rd time. Got a big smile on his face, Josh Hazelwood. Do New Zealand or Vittori, New Zealand most successful spinner? Yeah. Across all formats as well. Do you think a draw is a good bet, says Annoy? I'll be honest, I'm the worst person when it comes to predictions I think you could ever talk to, which is quite impressive with the amount of cricket and rugby that we cover on the channel. But yeah, I'm terrible with the bet side of things. There is supposed to be rain tomorrow for a little bit of the day, so that could play into it for the result. We might be getting a little bit too close to the end of the day, the end of the test match for both sides to get through it, but it's just very hard to tell. I know this is where you are hiding. Also, this is where you are hiding. You're supposed to help with the furniture assembly, says Grant. Wait, are the boys all in a group chat while he's assembling furniture? That sounds like a good time. Why are these overs never played on a Friday? Says the snooze. They are. Last test match, or this test match actually did start on a Friday. In fact, it might have started on a Thursday, did it? What day are we on now? We're on Monday. So Monday, Sunday, Saturday. Yeah, it started on a Friday. And I'm 5 days, 7 hours. This is crazy. Can't believe that. However, I love to watch the ABs play 5 days in a row, says Marco. And in our coaching team, imagine Macca, Vittori, Fleming, and Bond. Probably be a pretty decent setup, I'd like to think. It's just who's that player pool that you're going to have in there. And don't see a draw, says Gareth. Pitched up, sweep shot from Root. Set away again for the easy single. It was about 2.5 hours, never timed it, to be honest, says Gareth. And I'm done with furniture, says Grant. I put together a little table the other day and I was very happy about it. And it's just behind this massive green screen, but it's a little small table. Looks all right. It's got a Kit Kat chunky on it, I think. Line on the outside, oh, nice ball from Lyon. Put a little bit more effort into that one, but still gets worked away for the 2 runs. I tried to watch the breakdown, but we chatted last night on here about the AB selections. No need to waste an hour, says Hanoi. And I feel like it's quite cool that we had so many people giving their opinions on certain players. Should they be in? Should they be out? It was a lot more people watching that one than I thought we'd have. To be honest, I thought we'd have maybe like 50, somewhere around there, and then it was going to be just the regulars and a couple extra coming on to check out the squad when it was announced. But we had like, at one point, I think we had 1,000 people watching, all waiting to see that squad. And then, yeah, it was announced. Some people were happy, some people weren't so happy. Partnership at the moment, 39 runs, hit down the ground from Harry Brook, out through cover, another 4 runs to one of the longest boundaries at the ground, and now 43 runs the partnership from 41 balls. This is great work from England, going currently at 6 runs and over since these two have made their way to the crease. Happy enough though with that shot, Harry Brook. And the stream ended with us discussing South African stake. It did, and I actually saw that you guys did chat a little bit longer, or only a little bit more, like a couple minutes afterwards. The overrates is something ICC really need to get under control. They do, because at the end of the day, like, you're not getting a full day of cricket in, so it's not just bad for results wise. Like, imagine you have a test match that you've lost, let's say 5 overs a day due to slow overrate, and then like a test match is drawn or something along those lines when a team only needs another 30 runs to win or something like that. It would be pretty rough, or one more wicket needed. Have you ever bowled with the wrong foot action? I have not, other than to take the piss. Someone in my South Canterbury cricket team, when I was selected for them, they actually bowled off the wrong foot, right foot forward first, and then followed through that same way. Like, they were a decent bowler, but yeah, like not very often. And the breakdown are all a part of the New Zealand Rugby Union. They never criticise anything Ian Foster does. Jeff Wilson is literally on his knees pleasing the NZR. Goldie is a proper NZRU simp, says Gareth. And yeah, says Annoy. Oh, Grant, now that you're here, were you here last night when I was talking about fishing, Grant? Because I had an absolutely incredible experience fishing yesterday. Joe Root's having his 3rd like break at the moment. It must just be because it's hot that they've decided that you can have 15 drinks break in one session. I've only been going an hour and 10 minutes. Now he's just having a casual chat with the bloke on the side, Jeetan Patel. But yeah, I think it is drinks now, but Joe's already had a couple earlier on. Goldie is improving though as a Juno. His interview with Nick White post-semi was good. Cheers, Hanoi. Right, Joe Root's finished his sucky pop. And thoughts on us family on their hammy? No idea what that is, the snooze, I'll be honest. I'm very confused. I did just drop an SD card. That's unfortunate. We really need to see a run penalty, perhaps a run per ball missed. But then it's when me and Dad were actually talking about this just before the stream. And it's very tricky, because what if the batting side are also slowing it down for that pure purpose? You know, adjusting the gloves. Oh, Steve Smith, I need my 15th pair of gloves today, please, sir. And then that will use up time. Warner undoing his gloves every time. Like, the Aussies or any side would be able to try and use that to their advantage to then get more runs on the board. Because the likes of in England, they're going to score at 6 runs and over anyway at times. But for other sides who don't score at 6 runs and over, like that would be hugely beneficial for them. I don't mind JK, he's annoying, but he's at least has an opinion. You must hate me then, Gareth. I'm always on the fence, straight down the middle. Very annoying. Me, that is, not yourself. Goldie and Mills are just yes men. They add nothing. That's my 2 cents, says Gareth. Although I think Mills has gotten a little bit better with like not so much the opinion side of things, but in terms of his rugby like knowledge, in terms of just talking about the game. And I think that is from doing the commentary side. Like on the breakdown, I feel like he doesn't go as well as he does with the tactical analysis from in the game. That makes sense. Goldie arguably screwed the 99 ABs, but playing 15, pushing Kelly to 13. And hi, Hamish, what's happening today? Says Captain Tiger. We have seen quite an aggressive start for England on this day. 128 runs ahead at the moment. 7 wickets still available for the English. And I was not there when you were talking about fish murder, says Grant. We'll tell you what, Grant. It was absolutely insane when we were down there. Pretty much we started off trout fishing, didn't see a single trout. And then like I had a GoPro on for the whole thing. And like I have never seen what I saw in that ocean in terms of the pure amount of fish. Just everywhere. And not even far out from like the shore either. So it was really weird. That's why they should decide it during the breaks, how much is added. Says burning 1 AC and 300 plus, England ahead. Then Australia have little chance of winning. Says Deegan. I'm still blown away by that Mills Miliaina is born and bred in Invercargill. But makes sense. He talks like a full-on with a name like Miliaina. Says Marco. Right, Harry Brooks has had his spokes done up. See, in that case, like that's another one that would have used up more time, maybe a ball worth. So that's an extra run for England. So it's a very tricky one to manage, but they need to do something about it, don't they? Because we've lost so much cricket over the last 24 months, and they used to get through overs just fine. Would you do spearfishing? I would. I mean, I've never done it before, but I feel like it would be good fun. We're going to get 2 runs here off the first ball of Josh Hazelwood. Just talking about since Joe Root stood down from captaincy, he is averaging a huge amount of runs on the board. So just shows that not being captain's helped out. Dean Elgar was a little bit the same, not quite to the same extent. But some of these players who lose their captaincy then go really, really well. And don't get me wrong, Mills, I enjoy him. He's at a 100 AB cap. He knows what he's talking about. But as a pundit, it's always like they sense it on the breakdown. Yeah, it's too formal in a way. Like the jokes are almost pre-written down if there is a joke. Like I heard one on there that was said by Laura McDonald. I can't quite remember her name completely, but I think they read it off the piece of paper, and it just didn't have that same feel, As you mean, Islanders way down south? I mean, there's a few. Like I feel like a little bit more further south than us, we do have quite a few Pacific Islanders. In our town, not hugely, which is a bit of a shame because I feel like I could probably learn some of my pronunciations talking about their names. Like our local rugby team used to have a few of those fellas who would come over and were working, and then they would end up playing rugby. There were some big boys that were playing for the local side. At the moment, the local team's actually undefeated, which is quite cool. So I would like to go to one of their games in the near future. And with Super Rugby coming to a close, perhaps that opportunity does soon arise. I enjoy Bryn Hall as a pundit, says Gareth. Yeah, see, he's one of those guys who's been there in the environment, not so much All Blacks level for a majority of it, but like he's got the rugby brain, and a lot of halfbacks do, which is normally why they're good. Well, they're normally talkers, aren't they, the halfbacks? He forced 80 overs per day. Says burning 1 AC. Yeah, because the extra half an hour used to be because, you might need 1 or 2 overs that you got to make up for. But now it's like you've got the extra 30 minutes and you're still not quite getting there. He now goes the worst cricket captain of all time. Sorry, not sorry, okay, clueless as a captain. Yeah, he just didn't have it in him, did he? Laura McGoldrick. She comes across as being a full-on freaking. Gee, that's Martin Guptill's wife. Johnny, he's actually a cricketer. George does have a big thing for her, though. Make sure we cap our bowlers, our bottles. So we rinse it, open a new one. Good, easy, lazy tip. There's this news. And Mills, a good bloke though, chatted to us at 3 a.m. Crown Casino after the Melbourne Bledisloe. I asked him if he could beat Okakawa in a race. He goes, if no, bro, he's annoying. It's a nice shot from Harry Brook. Now moves up to 36. What's your fitness routine apart from the live stream? I like how apart from the live stream kind of infers that during the live stream I do a bit of fitness, which of course I do. What you guys don't see is my arms are constantly lifting big heavy weights down here, just pumping the biceps. You know, curls for the girls, that's what they say, isn't it? But no, I don't do a huge amount. Back in the cricket season, I had training once a week and then I'd be going to the gym alongside it. At the moment, I'm just lazy, I think. But then I have had a little bit of a groin injury, which really just sucks because I rest it and then I think, okay, I'm good to go. And then I decide to go on the treadmill or I decide to do some sort of leg exercise and the groin just pops again. How old am I? I sound like I'm 86, don't I, with that groin? But no, I'm 23. I had to think about it. I'm going to be 24 later on in the year. He has more to say, but the show is definitely controlled, says Gareth. Also, we have got there. She's currently the cricket wag. Yeah, she definitely keeps man happy, says Marco. A nice Yorker. We should use respectful words for all women, says Coding. I was respectful, wasn't I? I called them girls for my arm curls. Oh, he's gone. Joe Root's been stumped. Nathan Lyon, he doesn't normally show that much passion, but he's just got Root out. And 23 years old. You make me feel old, and that's going to be Root out on 46, just short of his half century. Ran down the wicket, head in the air, and misses the ball. Great work from Alex Carey behind the stumps with the gloves. Just quick take, boom over there, and Root's gone. Still an assistant. Which assistant we talking? Building assistant or like at the bowling place? A big wicket. That it's a huge wicket. That is for sure. Can I remember that guy Jeffy Hamish's mum? Says Gareth. Yeah, people are weird. But then they go real quiet, like even when they're not blocked. Like they think, oh, I got a good insult. And then you just give them the Uno reverse card. And most of them, their IQs aren't high enough to know exactly what you said. So they get confused. And then they don't understand that you're making fun of them. Yeah, they're weird guys. Says Coding. Lyon 1 says Grant. Or sorry, says Gareth. And your job, you said, says the suit. So I'm still working as a builder. The other job that was as like a bowling technician is not a go at the moment, mainly because they brought me in originally as I was going to be doing some promotion for them in terms of filming some stuff and putting it out there or editing it so that they could put it on their Facebook page and everything like that. Then somehow I ended up working actually at the bowling alley, even though I was not a bowling alley guy. Like I did all right there. Like it was just working on the computer and everything like that and also fixing the bowling alleys when they broke. So I wouldn't say I was bad at the job at all, but yeah, we realized that that wasn't actually what I was originally put down for. Our bowling tech says this news. Yeah, a little bit, even though it was going to be a filmographer or videographer, I guess. Only person I've ever permanently shadow zoned. None would disagree, says Gareth. Yeah, this show is controlled and pre-planned, similar to the NRL show, too a bit, but they're more loose than the NRL. Yeah, they like that's the thing. The breakdown would be so much better if they ended up like just kind of taking the piss a little bit, if that makes sense. Like having a couple bloopers every once in a while. Like I feel like their bloopers would get cut out because they're too strict on it. But like have a couple bloopers in there, have a few laughs, and then people might be like, oh yeah, I might watch it because it's not going to be the same thing over and over. Harry Sewer Danger says burning 1 AC, definitely. And this new man at the crease, Ben Stokes, got dismissed for 1 in the first innings. Certainly won't want that again. Who was this bastard that had to go? The world's biggest Stormers fan, says Grant. And Builder Brothers, oosh, oosh, says Marco. 250 is enough for defence, says Jagannath. And you would make a good sports team psychologist. I don't know about that. I feel like my psychology doesn't work with some people in terms of like I'm one who tries to find a positive spin on absolutely everything. And that normally annoys a lot of people. You reckon you could bowl my rubbish bin, Hammy? Maybe. Depends on how far away it was. I'm not great at bowling, though. That's one thing. Like, I worked as a bowling technician, but I wasn't great at bowling. But I did get myself a turkey once, which is 3 strikes in a row. There you go. Our pitch today play, it's still spinner's surface, not much variable bounce for the pace bowlers. I think that's just because it's hardened up a little bit, but it's still got a little bit of dust every once in a while. Looks isn't a slouch to have in, but that was a key wicket. Breakdown need to copy the NRL shows they have. They have fun. Yeah, like the little skits and everything like that. I feel like they're a lot more banterous, aren't they? Hamish, I bet if you submit your resume to Spark Sports, they can hire you and the commentary panel to commentate on New Zealand cricket. I disagree. And not just because Spark Sport are going under and they're going to become non existent in about a month's time. I think that if I've learned anything from what I've heard and what I've seen, that they aren't interested in anyone but ex professional players or full on media personnel, if that makes sense. Like, I'm just a guy on YouTube who talks about some cricket. They'll be like, nah, not interested at all. And groin can take ages to heal. My adductor longus, still lingering after a few years, been to a few physios. The hardest part is just because you think, oh, your nut's good. So you'll go out and then you just, it's just that little popping feeling and it's just out. It's rough. Funny segments on this show, light-hearted jokes taking the piss. It's still a family show, but very popular. The breakdown is a bit means, says Marco. I mean, that's even like when I did the big build-up for the Rugby Championship last year, All Blacks versus Springboks and all those games. Like, I still had the serious stuff, of course, like looking through the squad lineups and everything along those lines. But I also had those few wee off to the side things, like me and George doing the interview about the 100th game, talking into screwdrivers and him swearing flat out. Me going to the local rugby ground and everything like that. That you should work on your editing, work on your shooting, then find a way to go into film school for content creation, start your own business, is Burning 1 AC. Because I think the hardest thing at the moment is we've been doing a lot of, like, I guess quite simple videos, if that makes sense. Like the likes of our rugby gaming videos and everything like that. Like there's a video I've got planned at the moment that's going to take quite a bit of filming, but it's got like quite a bit of a exciting new look to it because I will get to put a few more hours into the editing and getting some new shots and multi-angle kind of thing. But the hardest part of doing like multi-angle stuff normally is because it's just me and George is very much let's just film it and then that's it. Go edit it, And that's why we like tuning into this live stream, bro. Got something alternative to offer the regular sports commentator, says Deegan. Yeah, because I mean, a lot of this live stream, or any live stream I do, is me talking to you guys. Whereas in the actual like commentary booth, it would feel so weird not looking to my side and saying, hey, it's such and such in the chat. Like I would have to full on focus on the rugby. And I feel like the part of these live streams that make them so much more fun is the fact that I get to talk to you guys throughout them anyway. We'd commentate a game of Venezuelan pool if it meant that we got to hop on a live stream and just have a casual chat throughout because it just makes it so much more fun. Sparksport hired some random big forehead guy to report the 2019 World Cup when Sparksport didn't have the rights. Spark did. This randomly or random nobody is listening to the show. There's Marco. Yeah, I think Goldie and JK makes it too serious. Just need to get TJ, Coles, and some other dudes have a laugh, and Nisbet will be chilling with his ear commentating together on his pension and also interactive. Says Deegan, exactly right. You've been doing talking heads, it seems, for some gaming stuff. Is that in terms of the green screen? I know that anytime I give George the Thing is, George always wears green to our green screen shoots, which makes it tricky to edit, I guess you could say. And Summer Penifino and Peter Soakula would be good commentators as well. Says Marco, normal commentary channels mainly concentrate on the cricket. Rugby viewers are secondary. BUQ lads is an exception on YouTube. I found you as a YouTube search for the first time, says Coding. That's a solid block from Stokes. I still try and throw a little bit of cricket in there as well throughout, of course. But the benefit of cricket is we've got a constant updating scoreboard. Whereas, like, normally, like, I guess on some of the other ones, like rugby, for instance, we can't just talk hugely about the chat because the rugby, they'll be moving around the field and no one knows where they are. Bloody cricket chat. Come back to the rugby soon, Amy, says the snooze. I mean, we did rugby yesterday. We did the All Black squad announcement. We did about a 50-minute live stream there. Got rugby State of Origin coming up in a couple of days. Myself and Dad are going to be doing the commentary, which is going to be awesome. And Mark, who says Tony, Hamish, and George into the stadium. I'll watch that, says Gareth. It'll be interesting, that's for sure. And then naked wrestling after that, says Mark. I don't think I'd win that, unfortunately. The ex-Canes winger was good on the chat. Too, forgot his name. Ex-Canes, Corey, no, not Corey Jane. Who else have they had? Julian Savi, I assume it's not him either. They need to do a social side of the commentary. Way to make it fresh. Problem is, no way to control what people say. And that is one of the big problems. Because you get the nice people, like we often come across, the ones who can control their tongue and don't say anything bad. And then you get the ones who say some really, really messed up stuff that you have to find a way of not mentioning, plus getting rid of that scenario before others start reacting to it. That's why I've never been one to have my chat on my screen, because that gives the people who want the attention the ability to get their attention a little bit too easy. If that makes sense, like they can have their name there, they can have what they want to say, and then like it can't be taken off the screen even when the message is removed normally. So it just sits there. And also notice the talking heads, when it's just a normal person talking to the camera, no cutaways, no B-roll, just the A-roll, says Burden 1AC. Yeah, it's only one camera shot for that, but that's also because our green screen's not wide enough, like, to be able to go any further than to us. Like, we actually squeeze up. You'll notice in those videos, we're like this, because or else then we're out of the side. Izzy Dag, he's pretty funny and semi-young, well compared to Goldie and JK. Honey Badger been making underwear commercials. I see Joe Marler's been getting into that as well more recently. England's run rate, 4.81, ticking over very nicely. Underwear commercials like Dan Carter style. I'll have to go look at it, says Gareth. I like Brandon. Forgot I blocked him. He's still here. He is still here, Brandon. He's been popping in quite often. Got himself the channel membership as well. And Israel Dag and Corey Jane, they feed off each other's energy. As you know what I'm saying, says Marco, because a lot of people would say that about myself and George in terms of I'm slightly more, I guess you could say, slightly more timid on live streams that it's just me. Every once in a while, the weirdness comes out. As you guys know, when I get tired, I start saying a whole heap of random stuff. But as soon as George is here, the live streams always go off in a direction that is quite different. In terms of, I guess, timidness, we don't really have a lot of it. I understand you with that one. Says Birding 1AC. But I think that's just because you get into that scenario how it's just two mates watching a game of sport with about 50 to 100 of their other mates who are chatting along as well. Hi, Yako. In there, welcome in, mate. Hope you are doing well. Currently, Australia trying to slow down this run rate, and they have to a certain extent here. We haven't seen a huge amount of Brooks scoring. In fact, we haven't actually seen him get a single run since Joe Root went out. I'm surprised George hasn't got us banned yet, bro. The day's coming at some stage, unfortunately. I know that one day George is going to say something really bad, and then Hamish is going to have to go on a spell. Hopefully, it's after the World Cup if that's the case. Tradie Underpants. This is amazing, says Gareth. It's because George is George. You're professional, says the snooze. And I think straight away with George, everyone knows he's not completely being serious, so they don't get angry, if that makes sense. Like he just, he's just chilling out. He's just living his best life, being a farm boy on the big stage. I think Brook might be on the verge of. Oh, that's a good shot. Down for one. See, the way you can do it is have a second person in the same room or a different one with a second camera where you cut to him. That requires a director or a stream deck. Says the Burning One AC. Yeah, two things that at the moment I would say the channel budget does not allow for, unfortunately. But like, that's the thing. We've had some videos where we've had my mum filming, which has been quite useful because like it's one of those ones that as soon as you have a second angle, you can really add a lot more. Have you seen these ads? I have. Old tradie underwear. What's he say? He says something about keeping your goods in check or something about his wee wee. I like when he was trying to take on that chick in the drive-through. Yeah, him and KFC, they have their own little rivalry, don't they? Thank you for this, says Gareth. Just showing Cam Green just got it wrong. Johnny Bairstow missed the stumping. And all love to Donna and Craig. Yeah, the amount of stuff that they've either had to film, see, or listen to while me and George have been doing videos and whatnot is pretty incredible. Like, and the fact that I've been able to have them on the live stream as well, like, it's been pretty awesome. Like, Dad's going to be on for State of Origin just around the corner. And then he's been on for a couple of these Ashes streams. He was on for the World Test Championship. I almost just knocked my green screen over. His rig's still a pretty tip-top. No, says Gareth. Right, Brooks has got one run. And this has slowed down the run scoring rate. It's what they need. They need a line to tie up one end so that Hazelwood could attack from the other. That was close to the outside edge. Brook just dabbing that one on. And by why? Keep him winning on the game. What do you mean the snooze? But why you keep him winning on the game channel? As in, like, why is he still on the gaming channel, the snooze? He does actually edit all the videos for the gaming channel, fun fact. He has taken the full role of looking after that one. And he's also edited a couple of the gaming ones on the main channel as well. There was a little patch there where he did a couple of them. By 140 at the moment. Just talking about the extension of a wicket keeper's hamstrings. There you go. Brilliant information from Kumar Sangakkara. Brooks sitting on 37 off 34 balls. He hasn't had a huge amount of strike. Daniel's still missing, says Gareth. Oh, great short ball there. And Root actually went wider, and his stumping means he couldn't get back in time, says the Burning Man Burning One AC. Daniel's still missing. Although me and Daniel went fishing yesterday and we did film it. So there's content out there that isn't released that has Daniel in it. It's just he's become a little bit of a myth, which is quite funny because when you go onto the channel as a new subscriber, I believe the first video you see is the one of me, George, and Daniel playing Rugby Challenge 4. So he's kind of on the page if you're not a subscriber, but then if you are, you don't really see him. He's kind of like a myth. Yeah, he was on the Christchurch trip. And yeah, when we went fishing yesterday, we had the GoPros out, so we filmed a bit of that. As at Lahos and Woman Vuni, says this news. I have no idea what that means either, mate. And LBW says Mako Vunapola. I mean, there could be an LBW chance. If Nathan Lyon can trap Brook on his crease, just showing the difference between Johnny Bairstow's work behind the stumps and Alex Carey's. There's a big difference. Stokes on strike. He did get dismissed for one in the first innings. Ball left. He's been able to keep it to only about 4 and over here and lead before wicket. You can't protect your legs, your wicket with your legs unless it's pitched outside the line. That's going too deep. You can't just stand there and stop the ball with your legs, says Gareth. Are you getting paid through YouTube for these streams or videos, says Burning1AC? We do have monetization on, so any money that the channel has made ever at this stage has gone straight back into the channel. I haven't profited at all in terms of like being paid per se, but like in terms of if we need a new microphone or paying for the live streaming subscription, the sports subscription, everything like that. So like anything that goes in there just goes straight back in, because I feel like at the end of the day, without you guys watching, like any amount wouldn't have been possible. So what I should do is put that amount back in so that it can make the channel better, if that makes sense. And sometimes it does take quite a wee while between getting a new microphone or getting some new lighting or a new green screen. But once it adds up, then it gets put back in. SD cards, I don't know how many of those I've got, but we've got hours and hours of footage. Hard drives, I think I've got 6 at the moment, all filled up with footage. The line, which is a little bit short there to Ben Stokes. Works it to the leg side for a single. Moving up to 3 now. Brooks still only ticking over very slowly. Very nicely done by Brooks. This is about where he got out. How many runs did he have in that first innings? He was very close to this number. I'm not sure the exact amount. We're going to go England versus Australia. How many did Brook get? I think he was on about 34 or 36 in that first innings. He got himself 32. No, it was 30-something that was an even number. Yeah, 32 for Brooks, so he's already gone a little bit higher, and he was scoring at about 1 run per over. Or sorry, run per ball at that point as well. And sorry, I thought you were asking what that meant. Here's Gareth. Australia trying to slow down this English run scoring. Oh, that's close. He's got the edge, though. He's edged it into his pad. It's not going to be given out. They're going upstairs. I believe Stokes got the inside edge onto the pad, but I don't believe the Australians have heard it. And they're going to go upstairs by the looks of it. Yep, they've gone upstairs. I'm sure Ben Stokes got an inside edge onto his pads here. I could be very wrong, but that's just how I saw it. Stokes doesn't look too phased. I think he just did bat on it. So he might be all right. This one, I swear. Oh, it went under. Did he toe end it? Could have, Pats. I want to send you an email. I want to help you, but don't want YouTube to take the funds. Says Burning1AC. I mean, it's very hugely appreciated, I should say. No one's actually really done anything outside of YouTube, I should say. I mean, I'll put my email, but your generosity, it's not required, if that makes sense. Like, we do this for fun. You don't have to do anything along those lines if you don't want to. Is that you, Kerr? Because I don't even know my own email. What is my email? One moment. Okay. That, I think, is our email. Now I'm going to get a whole heap of random emails from you guys, aren't I? But that's okay. I think that's correct. It's a bit of a weird email. And it's not even really the main email. But it's an email that I get notifications for. I think it could be a draw, says Carolyn. Yeah, it's getting closer to a draw possibility, although this would be a big wicket here if Stokes is dismissed. I thought he got it, yeah, all toe end. Did get an inch on it, Ben Stokes. I don't think it was going on to hit the stumps anyway. I think it was spinning away, but I called it from the get-go. Little bit of bat on it. And it's going to stay as not out. Australia do lose their thingy. If I win Lotto this Wednesday, Hammy, I will watch a full ODI, says the snooze. ODIs are quite long, to be fair. For people who don't really enjoy cricket, or even some people who enjoy cricket don't actually like watching the ODIs because of how long they can take. You know, they're not slow, or they're not slightly like small. Quite a long time. Yeah, there's Gareth. Right, the crowd are loving it now that Stokes. Oh, they think there was a gap between the ball and the bat. Even though, I mean, the ball still, I don't feel was going on to hit the stumps in this case. Saying there's daylight between the ball and the bat, I think it was going to be out though. The crowd are loving it at the moment. Every time it hits Ben Stokes' bat, he's got a half smile on his face. As you would do. At the end of the day, you're here for a good time, and that is what the crowd are giving him. That sounds dodgy, doesn't it? The Musketeer. Yeah, that was actually our original email way back in the day. Another one that hits the bat. The crowd are loving it. Nathan Lyon trying not to laugh, but it's going to be the end of the over. 137 for 4 now. Beat him by 1 at 44. Yeah, that one impact outside the line. Wasn't hitting the stumps anyway, so I mean, at the end of the day, it's not that bad. The fact that he did maybe get the bat on it. That's the song they done, isn't it? We're done 37 for 4. This field. Oh, they're taking a bit of a page out of England's books by the looks of it. The way they are setting the field now. Here comes Hazelwood. Solid. Just that little bottom edge. Although there is a lot of noise after it goes past. So it's a bit weird. Pikawaja not to get 150, says Mysterion. Yeah, he got a little bit unlucky. Smith just before, but he got a ripper of a Yorker though, didn't he? He was under pressure. They had 4 men in front of the bat, and he then tried to find the gap and wasn't quite able to get shot. Brook finds the open space. I believe that was very close to the 6. No, they're giving it as a 4. Hang on. Is it plugged? It hasn't actually gone over. They got the crowd back in the game. Dangerous for the Aussies, says Burning 1AC. Hopefully you did write that email down, Burning 1AC, because I did remove it after a little bit, just in case everyone was going to see it as well. But yeah, sorry if you weren't able to write it down. Yeah, that's just kind of dawdle along. About a metre from the boundary. Stokes sitting on 3 off 19. Brooks 8 away from that half century. And we've still got another 45 minutes remaining of this session, I should mention. It is an extended session due to the weather we have lost, or the overs we have lost due to weather. Got it by Travis Head again. It's another 2. Just doing maths in my head. So if England, let's say they lose, I hope it's not the case, but let's say they lose about 30 or so overs tomorrow. That leaves 60 tomorrow. Still got another maybe 75 today. Maybe you get a few more. I feel like England, they will start scoring at a quicker rate again as soon as Stokes gets himself in. Huge, says Burden 1AC. Wait, are you a ball ahead? Have you seen a wicket of Brook here? Maybe. This might be the ball. Beautiful weather though. Moment 42 off 39 for Brook. I'm just waiting to. No, I did. Wait, you did. Oh, for the email. Okay. Is this the wicket? I'm curious now. Harry Brook on strike. Hazelwood bowling. We wait to see. No, it wasn't. Never mind. And I would say if Brook and Stokes are at the crease 45 minutes from now, I would like to think that they would still be ticking over runs at a decent enough rate, maybe at 5 and over or so. 45 minutes, maybe 10 or so. He just commentating the first session. He's burning one AC. That is the plan anyway, just for today. But I'm hoping to do all 3 sessions tomorrow. Short ball. Oh, well played by Harry Brook. That was just a reaction shot, almost like an evasion of don't let the ball hit me. So I'm just going to swing. He's got a big smile on his face as well, but 7 runs away from the half century. I think that reaction from him was, I don't know where that ball went. Great comeback, says Hensel. Thank you very much, mate. Usually appreciated. Who do you think will be placed in the Fab Four in modern cricket? It's a tricky one, isn't it? Because, like, you got to look at those young guys. And the Fab Four was always the batsman, wasn't it? But there's some great young bowlers at the moment in world cricket. But if you had to go batsman, who are our top 4 young batsmen? I feel like someone like a Harry. I mean, no, but is he? He's not. When you compare it, like, you know, it's hard, isn't it? Labuschagne's got to be in there, doesn't he? Labuschagne's in there because for what he's been able to do. So the original 4, we had Smith, Kohli, Babar Azam, Kane Williamson. The new 4, I would have Labuschagne, not Babar Azam bats like a snail, says Gareth. Say they accelerate after drinks of the next session, says Burning 1 AC. Listening in the office, says Hensel. Well, that's the thing. If they can continue getting it about maybe 3 or 4 and over, 4 or 5 here, and then really boost it up, get about 7 and over for about maybe 10 overs or something like that, and really ramp up those runs, get a 300-plus lead, and then say, go on, Aussie, you can have a crack now, son. I'm trying to think who else. Labuschagne's definitely there. Why does my thumb look so weird? Get up straight, son. I've called my thumb and myself son. Why does it look like? Why does? Do I normally? I see why I do the thumbs up with my right hand because this looks. That looks so normal. That's not straight. The thumb's wonky. That's a thumbs up. That's almost it. Just going to change the angle, but the thumb isn't sitting up. Mitchell Conway potentially in there. Yeah, I would say Devon Conway. If we're going for pure batsman kind of things as well. No, Stokes is more of an all-rounder. We've got to think top order batsman, don't we? Young guys who are changing the game. It's a tricky one, isn't it? Babar Azam is playing consistently in every conditions. Haven't you caught me a fish? Did you, Gareth? Where did you catch it? Is it in the Discord? Will I be able to see said fish? I'd say they accelerate after drinks of the next session, says Burning 1 AC. Fab 4 is Mitchell Conway. Oh, no, I read that one, didn't I? Why do they butcher Labuschagne's name? It's just because he's Aussie, isn't it? Like, Labuschagne could go with that instead, but he doesn't. Just go to Labuschagne. Got that Aussie twang on it. Oh, a little bit leg side. He bats consistently slow and doesn't win games. Selfish player, says Gareth. Ooh, Gareth's just spitting straight facts. Marnus, Mitchell, Brook. You'd have Brook in there. Harry Brook, I feel like, definitely in with a shout. So you'd pick Daryl Mitchell over Devon Conway for the Kiwi side of things. That's that Indian guy. Is that Shipman Gill or a different fella? Babar Azam defeated New Zealand. Their home conditions, says Nathrinu, and then bored them to death. in his own conditions. The Wellington opener, Finn Allen. Oh, Finn Allen. Maybe he could be like the future generation of the Fab Four. Oh, that could be another one. Who are the top four guys who are like the next big thing that haven't quite hit their mark yet? You know, someone like, I mean, Shipman Gill could be a shout in that regard, although he keeps on getting himself in trouble on Twitter for calling out umpires. But, you know, those real young guys who you're like, geez, he's got a good chance. Sad that South Africa have no top batsman anymore. And Tess says Hensel. It is because they went from just such a brilliant patch of players. Like, you're looking like maybe 10 or so, maybe even a little bit less, a little bit more. You know, Cullis, you've got the Villiers, even in the short format. Maybe the Villiers was fantastic for them. And now they struggle to find the player who's like him. I'm about to sneeze. Don't forget our little Bavuma. He's coming into it. Pope, I rate him as the best right now. Says Gareth. And Brevis in South Africa could be good. And Umla, says Hensel. The only thing I don't like about Bavuma is he runs between the wickets really, really badly. Like, for a quick player, he's terrible with his runouts. I think he runs out half his team. We'll have to call him Ross Taylor 2.0. And next couple of years, we'll see Bavuma getting there. And I think that is down to confidence as well. At the end of the day, if you're batting with guys who you don't normally get to bat with a huge amount, there can be that hesitancy. But he's a good batsman and he's good, like a good asset to have in the field for the South Africans. Advancing down the wicket there for Stokes. Your Mitchell has been consistent, and yeah, it's him for sure. Says better one AC. When one sneezes, does the nose become a double-barreled knot gun? Or snot gun, I assume that is from Mysterian. Depends on the weather, doesn't it? I always find that when I sneeze, the next day it's going to be a good day. If that makes sense in terms of the weather. It's really weird. Because when I get hay fever, that's normally because the weather's nice. So yeah, it might be nice tomorrow. See a man, Webb Ellis, got a rugby ball in his hands there, Ben Duckett. Yeah, Daryl Mitchell's probably one of the most underrated batsmen and bowlers that New Zealand have. Like, just a genuine all-rounder, Daryl Mitchell. But he never gets the credit. I caught me a Azam fish, says Gareth. I see. I see he's up to 15 times as a real booger, says Mysterion. Nice and solid there. See, Gareth, what we'll have to do if everyone's free, which they probably won't be, but after this session, I have to show you my fishing adventures in a group call thingy like we did the other day and show you how random the sea was. Is that? Yeah, it is. Shaim Afridi watching this game with the sunnies on. In disguise, the man in front of him looks like he's about to jump into the pool. His sunglasses are very thin. The future Brook, Phillips, Bavuma, and Demuth. Says Burning 1 AC. I can see Harry Brook is a really good asset for England. And I think, nicely fielded by Cummins. They will still take the single. I have to say, here's a question that I'm about to say. Would Harry Brook be as successful if England weren't playing baseball? You know? Like, I feel like this is the perfect team tactic for his style of batting, and it's given him a chance to really get a lot of early confidence in his batting career. But if he was playing for a side, for instance, like Pakistan, and he was told, right, you have to go at 2 runs and over, I think he would get himself out a lot earlier than he does when he plays for the English. So I feel like baseball's actually really helped him develop as a player while batting and give him that confidence to be able to play those elusive shots that he normally loves. I think Johnny Bairstow's doing a crossword. He's just trying to chill out. Crosswords suck, though. I always suck at a crossword. Hey, Pope, I really do rate him. What about Naseem Shah? Sheena Afridi? Says Nasrina. Well, Sheena Afridi's actually at the game at the moment. Slavashane, he was asleep, apparently. Nap now. Looks like they might end up changing the ball here just after that last one, skidding around a little bit. I need a replacement. Now, 35 minutes remaining in the session. I have to say, it's gone by very quickly. I think that's because we've had so many people chatting. It's been quite nice. It's almost just been a little bit of a catch up with the side of cricket. Yeah, Bairstow working on his crossword. I wonder what I would do if I was waiting to bat. In fact, I know what I do. I just sit there and try and, or actually, I just stand and just walk around just a little bit. And okay, in the Reno, you're all right. Above Razam is very, very good. Says Gareth, no, not in the test arena. Says Burning 1 AC. Yeah, see, Afridi hasn't really been tested at all at test level, has he? Oh, he's had a little crack, but not really enough to go, yep. The Bairstow, the guy who punched someone once, says annoying. Did Bairstow punch someone? I thought Ben Stokes punched someone. Wasn't it like a late night out and Ben Stokes gave someone a bit of biff? What are they looking at there? Looks like they're all looking down at, I don't know what they were looking at. Maybe someone was having a fight in the crowd and they were all like, oh, we might as well have a bit of a geese. See who's getting kicked out. Hazelwood continuing his spell. One slip with Smith, kind of a backward third man. It's going to be worked away nicely. And Stokes, yep, says Annoy. And Warner and Root boxed once, says Gareth. That would be an interesting fight, wouldn't it? I feel like Warner, he'd have a bit of a dog in him, you know. Or will there ever be a batsman like Sachin Tendulkar again? Says Mr. Dion. It's a tricky one. Like, there's going to be, it's always comparisons, isn't it? You know, there's Steve Smith. He's going to be the next Don Bradman. But now a lot of these guys, they're going to take slightly different paths. There's going to be changes compared to the overlap of the older careers and the newer careers. So it makes it very hard to completely compare them, if that makes sense, because of the evolution of the game of cricket. A little bit different now. Session is nothing in front of Lara, says Nasrino. And no, don't think it's possible anymore, says Gareth. It's going to be now the 150 on the board. For the English, I didn't know what I was clapping for till they told me. Swift doesn't rate with Bradman, in my opinion, says Mysterion. Exactly. So it's one of those ones that people will have their opinion. Some people feel that Steve Smith is better. Some people feel he's not. Some people think that they're completely different players, which I would probably agree with the most, is that they're just so different and so hard to compare who they're facing, even as bowlers, you know? And hopefully, didn't he say there's heaps of batters like him all over India? I mean, I don't get the chance, says Hanoi. I think at Test Brooks, in Test Brooks would not work unless it was Bazball, says Burning 1 AC. Yeah, it's certainly one that it's boosted his stocks, if that makes sense. Like, people will see him playing Test match cricket, seeing the shots he's playing, and like even maybe the IPL might be like, yeah, maybe. Because I feel like that's what happened with Cam Green. He hadn't played a lot of short format cricket, but it was actually his bowling and Test matches and his fielding game that the IPL were like, yep, he's the kind of guy that we want in there. Sachin versus Lara versus Sobers versus Bradman. Can't really compare any of them, can you? Sangakkara, to me, is the best. And Hobart Callis, 300 wickets as well, says Gareth. But yeah, a lot of differences between the top players around the world, isn't there? The easiest comparison we've kind of got at the moment is Steve Smith and Marnus Labuschagne, because those two are a little bit identical in the way that they play, but still very different. But they're probably the closest two batsmen in cricket today, I would say, with the way that they play. And that's probably quite a bold statement, but I think it's not a mile off in terms of the little what's it called, little tendencies and all their little quirks and everything that they have when they're batting. And people underrated colour so much. Says Burning 1 AC. I remember I used to play, was it cricket 2000, and it was one of the real early cricket 2000 and something games. And we used to have Callis. We used to play as South Africa. He used to tear up wicket after wicket. But then in real life, it was actually identical. He was doing the same thing. Callis was a perfect all-rounder. And yet Brooks was dismissed in India IPL to see how he goes batting in different overseas conditions. See how that average plays out. Says Deegan there. But that's the thing. He plays a lot on these either English conditions, like he's played a lot of county cricket. He's a young player who hasn't had to play too much overseas. So playing on a spinning pitch is something that he hasn't had to experience too much. And I feel like straight away people are like, he sucks on a spinning pitch, kick him out. But it's more like he just hasn't had the chance to prove himself on it because he's only played on it a couple of times. Oh, what a catch. He's out. That's going to be a Labuschagne with the diving take. Brooks also dismissed on 46 now. Oh, they're not going to lose 5 wickets in quick succession during this last 30 minutes and make me stay for session 2, are they? If I was such bad to the Aussie sport, the Sydney Swans took the next gun spinner, Nick Smith, I think his name was, plus heaps. It's a great take from Marnus Labuschagne, and Cummins was the highest run scorer and one of the top wicket takers. He's been in 1AC. The pitches Session and Bradman played on were not like today, says Mysterion. Very true. The bats that they were using were not like the ones that they use today. And I feel like in that regard, that gives them a little bit more credit for those older fellas because they weren't playing with bats that if you half hit it, the ball goes to the boundary. They were playing with bats that you needed to time the ball or else she wasn't going. And man, was a rock on the slip, says Gareth. Now Johnny Bairstow makes his way out to them in a great wicket. Yeah, great take from Marnus Labuschagne in the field. And Lyon, I mentioned about it. He may end up going for 130 runs, but he might pick up 3 or 4 wickets in the process. I think he's looking a little bit lower than that now with only the 33 off him with the 2 wickets in hand. But Bairstow and Stokes, this is a partnership that needs to be broken for the Australians because they could easily go on and get a 100-run partnership if they're getting it right. England with the 157-run lead, they will want no less than 300 lead up against the Australians here. Now they've got to kind of dig deep a little bit because top order, they've got a few starts, but they haven't got themselves a man who's gone on to get that big total. We're seeing 2 men dismissed on 46. But Dravid was a rock for India too. You can't compare players like that, I don't think, says Gareth. Yeah, makes it very tricky. Whom you saw, Sir supporting England or Aussie side. I just like good cricket at the end of the day. Like, I don't mind who wins this first test match. I'm from New Zealand, so I'm pretty much impartial. And, yeah, I just hope it's a good match. And so far it has been. I feel like there's been nice up and down. Seen some decent batting, some decent bowling. Nathan Lyon moving up to 493 wickets, 7 away from the 500 mark. Might even be able to bring it up in the next test match, I would say. Nathan Lyon, definitely if he can get 1 or 2 more here, but spin's been effective, which is why Moeen Ali's finger is going to be so important for the English. If it is not 100%, could be problems. What was Zamamim Al Haq notorious for, says Mysterion? Hopefully someone will know the answer. Nathan Lyon, though, first ball to Bairstow, who's standing quite far on his off stump there. Commentator's curse has been in 1AC. There's always one there. Why don't take Lyon over the wicket to right-handed batsman, takes the LBW and bowled out of the equation, almost. Comes as to defensive, no slips, closing catches with Lyon bowling. There's Deegan. I mean, they might add someone in a little bit closer for Bairstow. It worked pretty well for that wicket that they just got. But, yeah, it's going to be interesting to see how aggressive they are in the field places. Will Lyon be the richest ball guy in Oz? Nowhere near it. There's some pretty rich guys out in Australia. It's a great take, though, from Marnus Labuschagne. Just glided with it and bowling over the wicket. I would have would both edges and play it with slips, silly catches, etc., says Deegan. I think if you look at it, who will win a match single-handed, then Gibbs, Sawag, Sanger, Gilly come into play, says Gareth. They're showing the replay, and there was the anticipation from Nathan Lyon. He moves, from Marnus. He moves early, takes 2 steps to his side. Oh, no, he dropped his chewing gum as well. And that dude who acts Mr. In Between must be up there. Gone for 46. Still 25 minutes remaining of this session. We've got an unfamiliar Bairstow, I guess you could say, with the test match format just more recently with his injury. We've got Scotty Boland now back into the attack. Root will be man of the match if he bowls them to victory, says Bet on 1AC. Yeah, he's had a fantastic Test match. Even though he did come up a little bit short in his second innings, I would have to say, geez, that ball's taken off. That might be a wide. Almost for Scotty Boland. He wasn't the worst, but he was run out 40 times in tests, says Mr. 30 on. Dismissal just a little bit fuller. Means that Brook wasn't able to get that same shot away that he was able to just that little bit earlier on. Still can't believe Will Jacks has been left out, says Gareth. Did anyone find out, is Dom Bess in the squad, or is it Jack Leach and Moen Ali? Have they got another spinner in there somewhere just in case? So who was that young leggy that England had for a while? He was doing real well in county cricket. That wasn't Will Jacks, was it? If it was, then I'm an idiot. But it might have been. No, who's Will Jacks? Oh, mate, in my head, I can see him, but I can't think of what he does. If that makes sense. And will Ali still be bowling with that sore finger? Is the factor later on. It's a good question. And that's the thing. With it being the spin finger, you're not really allowed to put a whole heap of plasters on it to try and make it better. He's already been fined 25% of his match fee, or his match purse, because of some spray that he had earlier on. And Carlos Amla de Villiers are for them single-handed winners. Better than 1 AC. You can see there, England, 7 runs for Crawley, 19 for Duckett, 14 for Pope, 46 for Lyon, for Root and Brook. Oh, Ben Stokes, he's played that one very nicely. He's advanced down the wicket, just giving it that little turn round the corner, the flick for the 4 runs. Moves up now onto 13. Maybe there's a bit more urgency from Ben Stokes now. He's realising that they've started losing a couple wickets and needs to start getting a little bit more on with it. And Boland set out IPL for test matches. Says Hanoi, yeah, he's a great player, Scotty Boland, and he seems very humble. You know, like he was selected for the test matches and then he was like, yep, I'm going to commit. You know, I'm not going anywhere. I don't want to risk injury. I don't want to go overseas, make a huge amount of money because I'd rather be playing in the tests for the Aussies. Oh, bit of a yes-no chance. Bairstow gets back nicely. The hand of Marnus Labuschagne, and you can't say who is the best. Some in rugby, or same in rugby, same in chess. Kasparov and Magnus Fisher, says Gareth. And Leach has a lower back injury and won't be available for any of the Ashes tests. And Lyon takes 2 wickets in each in the next test. Oh, you know, he's done well to get back there, Johnny Bairstow. I think Root there just having a bit of a conversation saying, I thought that you said yes. Sorry, Stokes rather than Root. Bairstow being hit on the right hand. This will take away another over from this session. You've got 2.5 hour sessions to start us off. We're going to see the replay here. Oh, just clipped a finger. Didn't look like a huge hit here. I mean, it didn't look like a serious blow for Johnny Bairstow. But it must have got him. Matthew Potts, Ollie Robinson, Dan Lawrence, Chris Wokes, Mark Wood, Josh Tongue, and Moen Ali. There's Miss Daddy on there for their squad. And Wood is there, but no one else. And England need firepower. Yeah, Mark Wood's a good option later on if he goes for kind of more aggressive bowling style, because the good news about him is he can bowl 150, but he can bowl 150 quite a few times in a row and not end up injuring himself. And that hopefully hasn't jinxed him, but he normally gets through quite a large spell. Looks like Bairstow's going to be all right. And Whitelock on 143 tests. Do you think he'll break McCaw's record this year, or will be rested, rotated for the Cup? Says Hanoi. I mean, he's going to get close anyway. Need to go recruit in Jamaica, says Gareth. And Australia, it's a good chance. All out England 200. Or I don't know about all out for 200. I think they'll get a little bit more, maybe. If they were going to be bowled out cheaply, it might be about 240 a hit, I would say. You know, yeah, somewhere around there. I love when I stretch and like 3 of my back muscles just crack. Well, 3 of my backbone, the spine. There we go. It's back in place. Solid from Stokes again. Needs Sam. So he will play, says Mr. Teddy on. It'll be the end of the over now. 154 for 5. Old two-step will play. Not sure that's the right call. Says Gareth. Bairstow. Tell you what, ladies and gentlemen, in the chat right now, give us a prediction, the exact number of runs you feel Johnny Bairstow will get in this test match. I'm going to star them all. Whoever's closest gets the name up on the screen, which isn't really much of a prize, but let's do it anyway. So do let me know. How many runs will Bairstow get? I said 12. I was quite harsh. Don't they get hot in the vests over their shirts? A little bit. Some players opt for just the shirt. Some players opt for the short sleeve or the long sleeve. 15, says Hanoi. And that's gone right through. Says Burning 1 AC. I assume that's for the Johnny Bairstow one, isn't it? 74, says Mysterion. That's the same as his first innings, isn't it? Looks like Labuschagne now getting some pads put on. 28, says Gary. 27 from Gareth. Right, pads going on now for Marnus Labuschagne. That means he's going in under the helmet here. Short leg seems like it is going to be the choice for him. A few Aussies working around there. Looks like Ben Stokes having a bit of a chat with Marius Erasmus here. What's he asking about? Seems like a relatively in-depth discussion anyway. So I actually gave him the lowest amount of runs, Johnny Bairstow. It was a bit harsh of me, wasn't it? Oh, tell you what, it's a bit of a yes-no again between those two. It's looking like Kawaja and Warner the other day. They were yes-no on a majority of their runs. With 18 minutes remaining in this session, I would say that England will still end up maybe at most being 6 down. I don't see them losing 2 wickets. Marnus is an annoying man to have close by. Gets wickets by irritation, says Gareth. Yeah, he just talks, doesn't he? He just loves cricket. And he'll just tell you all about it. Tell you about what shot he played last week. It's going to go wide, but it has gone out to Warner, who is fielding it more of a, I guess you'd almost call it a backwards square leg kind of position. Marnus, he'll be one who's looking to get a big total in the second innings, seeing as he was dismissed for that Golden Duck. 64. There's Burden 1 AC. Well blocked again by Bairstow. We'll take his time, won't be rushing this. He'll make sure gets his eye on before playing any expansive shots. Works it out to the offside. Himself the nice easy single. That is actually going to be a field change. By the looks of it, they've decided to take Marnus out of in close when Stokes is batting. Where would you put him? If you had Stokes in there, I would be tempted to put Marnus. I want to say like either on the leg or the offside, about halfway down the pitch, few steps to the side, just to have him in the eye line. It looks like he's actually back out into the field now. So does that mean they've already decided against having Marnus in close for Bairstow? Unless maybe he's just going to put the helmet back on and off. But yeah, I'd have him as one that's in Stokes' eye line, relatively straight, so that if you give him that slightly shorter ball and he ends up kind of slightly popping it or trying to play it hard, might end up in a similar dismissal as Brook. Solid again, although Stokes, he's pretty hard to get. I probably would have that actually off the pace bowler rather than Nathan Lyon. Squeezing the sweat out now. One of the commentators sounded like he had a right good breathing straight into the microphone session there. In fact, it sounds like the commentators have left. I think they're just listening to the Aussie side in action. Looks like Stokes might have gotten something in his eye. Yeah, oh no, the commentators have come back. Marnus is the type to be picking his nose while the bowler is running in, says Gareth. Oh no, they have actually put Marnus back in close now. It's going to be the end of the over. 155 for 5 RP. Has a good afternoon, Kiwi lads. Hope Australia will love from Wales, or will win love from Wales. Is RP? Yeah, I hope you are doing very well, mate. Must be around lunchtime for yourself, if I'm not wrong. 15 minutes remaining of this session. And of course, the next session, they are actually going to have another 2.5-hour session. Try and make up for the lost time that they had yesterday. But more than likely, we're going to see Australia batting at some stage today. I guess it's just that question of will it be sooner rather than later. Busy telling Stokes this morning, poop, says Gareth. I should also mention Moeen Ali. We don't actually know if he's going to bat. He might actually be down the order. The next batsman in might be Stuart Broad. So if that is the case, they can pick up another wicket right now before the lunch break. Would be very handy indeed for Australia. But now Bairstow on strike to Boland. Outside off stump, left alone that time. Doesn't feel like he needs to rush at Bairstow. He's actually walking right down the pitch here. Tapping down every little mark that he sees. Filling in time, analysing the wicket. See, I would do that when I bat, but we are on artificial wickets, so they shouldn't be that different to each other. You don't really have to analyse the cracks, and we could end up having variable bounce. Thought about the quick single there, Bairstow, but won't get it. It's gone out to the man at short mid-wicket. Showing that replay of the Pat Cummins in-swinging Yorker to Ollie Pope. It was a sensational ball. He might even have a crack of himself before the end of session number 1. Pat Cummins might come back in just for a few more after Scotty Boland's done. Boland at the moment, he has averaged 6 runs, or his run rate is 6 per over of his Boland, the economy. Boland was ready to run in. Bairstow wasn't quite there. Oh, that stayed low. It's given Johnny Bairstow. Is he going to go upstairs? That one skidded right before lunch. Is he going to be out? What are we thinking? Stokes says have a review, see how it goes. But I think this might be plum. Unless this one's done something weird, I swear that looked like it's just, down low. The chicken, I think Nathan Lyon said the only thing that might save him is bat here. Or height. No, it could be height. It's hit him above the knee roll. There's no bat on it, but is it going to be bouncing over? It was actually the seam presentation that might hurt him because the seam ended up skinning off. I thought it went low, but it's just ended up going just straight through. I'm just waiting for ball tracking. The cam takes ages. It does. It's as if they've got to alter the images so that it looks the way that they want it to. I don't know if it will be the case for all games in England, whether the ball tracking takes a little bit longer or if it is just this one. But Johnny Bairstow looks like he's not too phased. I feel like the only thing here is it might end up being umpire's call. Here it comes. It's missing the stumps. The reviews retain and Bairstow survives. Just ends up missing the bail there. And the crowd are very happy about that one. Steve Smith, he can't believe it. Steve Smith saying that's the same as his one. The only difference was Steve Smith was only about an inch out from his wicket. And but ILBW says Deegan, yeah, so he ended up just going over and also just a little bit down the leg side. And that was probably from that seam presentation of Scott Boland. Ended up getting it to go a little bit too steep of a bounce. Oh, that's plum. This time, give it out. It's out. No, he says no. Right, they're going upstairs. They've got to for that one. That looked a lot better. I like that one. Right. Nah, it's not height. It's not height. That one was lower. Do it, Cummins. You've got one remaining. They're not going to do it. Okay, I'm too excited now. decided against reviewing. Pat Cummins gives him a pat on the back. I think that one was very close. Maybe outside of the line. What happened with this one? Oh, it's hit the back leg. Maybe height again. The crowd are chanting, same old Aussies always cheating. But they weren't the ones who gave it out. There is only one king, and his name is Baba Razam. I would have thought his name was King Charles. But no, it doesn't seem to be the case. Although there can be multiple kings, can't there? They sung God Save the King before this game. So 1 off 11. Maybe my prediction of him getting 12 runs was actually my prediction of him getting 12 balls. My bet looking good, says Ferdinand. So I have a question, Ferdinand. Are you watching the game or do you just bet on the games without actually watching them? Because I guess watching a test match when you've got a bet on it probably makes you very nervous throughout the whole thing, doesn't it? Solid from Bairstow. The crowd cheer for that one. And now they're asking them to go upstairs for that one by the looks of it. Making fun of the Australians. Wait, that's the end of the session. Huh. I didn't realize that we were finished. I thought it was a 12:30 a.m. finish rather than a 12:20. That makes those last couple just that little bit more intense. They've got a rugby ball. They do. Ben Duckett was holding on to it earlier on, but this session we've seen a run rate of 4.79, 3 wickets falling, 126 runs. And the bowling in swinger looked plumb, says Deegan. Yeah, look good. They haven't actually shown the height of that one, the last delivery, and it's a bit of a shame that they haven't. Yeah, Joe Root got the rugby ball. I think they're talking about the way that Bairstow's walking off the field. Yeah, it's a little bit Johnny Bairstow. He's walking with the big posture. Now we've got the lunch break. That is 40 minutes. Sadly, this is where our coverage is almost going to come to a close, ladies and gentlemen. We'll be starting work at 8 a.m. tomorrow morning. So, yeah, good fun. I do a lot of research before I bet. Got to take the weather into consideration, previous results, injuries, and lineups, says Ferdinand. So I assume that the main reason that you said a draw, well, you didn't really say a draw, did you? You said Australia to win, but a draw gets you your money back. So the main reason you would have gone for the Aussies, I assume, is based off their World Test Championship result when they were playing up against India in England. And a lot goes into it before I place a bet, says Ferdinand. And that's it, Moz. Says Hanoi, I should mention we are going to be doing the day 5 of this test match. Please show the match. Sadly, not. If I show any footage at all, YouTube take us off YouTube straight away and we get banned for 3 months, which is a bit of a shame. But I mean, the one to follow is probably the ICC Instagram or ICC YouTube channel because they show a lot of highlights of these games in terms of the wickets, the big shots, everything like that. That would probably be your best option, I would say. That was a big yawn for 12:23 a.m. here in New Zealand. Oh, they show this Sky Creative like all of the information about it. Bumper '04 Hard Out is the title. Interesting. Now they are going to be waiting to 40 minutes, then they'll be back for another session, which I might end up catching the start of. By the time I end up going to bed, I might get to see maybe 3 or 4 overs. But like I mentioned, we will be back tomorrow, more than likely for the full day, even with a little bit of rain delay. We'll probably continue through that. We'll be going right through to about 6 a.m. on Tuesday. Or sorry, it will actually be Wednesday morning for us here in New Zealand. But nonetheless, thank you all very much for tuning in. It has been hugely appreciated you guys all being here. If you are new to the channel, be sure to leave a like and subscribe. And yeah, hopefully you enjoy the rest of the day of cricket. I'm intrigued about this next session. I feel like it's going to be one that we could even see the Aussies batting by the end of session number 2, depending on how this English side do end up going. But thank you all very much for tuning in. I will see you all for the next one.